Hello everybody and welcome to my playthrough of Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. And as you can see, I have never touched this game. I know nothing about this game, but I am curious to see what else happens in the Metroid Prime series. Plus, I'm doing the video on Metroid soon, so I gotta know as much lore as I can. Luckily, I got the whole trilogy locked and loaded, so let's get started. Mission file 02546. 8 days ago, contact with Galactic Federation Trooper Squad Bravo was lost. Contract agreement. Locate Federation troopers and render assistance. Data confirmation. Last transmission received from a rogue planet located in the Dasha region called Ether. Uploading last known coordinates now. Alright, cool. This is like the computer systems within Samus's ship that we're watching right now. Very interesting. Alright, seems like that's part of the planet where we're going to. Got ourselves a nice little flight path going on. Alright, but it looks like we're heading too fast, too deep into this planet, which is not good. There's a lot of dark clouds and everything going around us. So there's a lot of interference going on. And look at that, our ship just got blasted. Oh god. Is this the end of this ship? Bam, we just crash land right into this area over here. But luckily we have just enough power just to park our car right here. And out pops you know who. Good old Samus in her trusted suit. And looks like this time around she's in our Varia suit already too. Very interesting. Which begs the question, why did she get rid of the gravity suit from last Metroid game? Very interesting questions. Alright, and as you can see, the scanning in this game is a little bit different. If you encounter something new, or you haven't scanned before, it will show up as this blue thing. If it's something interactable or interesting, it will show up as red. And once you scan those, it turns green, notifying you that you don't need to scan everything. And of course, as this is the Metroid game, the first thing you want to do is try to scan your ship to get as much stuff as you can. And very interesting thing, I will point out to you guys, I won't be getting all the scans, mainly just because I did a whole playthrough of this game and I missed one thing in a boss battle that I didn't know I was supposed to scan, so naturally I'm a bit salty about that, so I was like, screw it, I'm not going to do all the scans. But we'll try to provide as much info about those as I can. But I am going to get the 100% items here, because that's what triggers the secret ending to happen. And right away you can see this place is really deserted. There's some branches of technology here and there, but it seems like wildlife is really took a liking to all this place. And over here, we drop down, we see a whole bunch of storage places. This was a research facility of sorts around here. A whole bunch of different mechanisms we have to scan too for our lore as well. And right away, we already start off with 5 missiles and our morph bolt technology as well. So we're not completely out of the dark yet. And then if you just come into this computer room, you can find yourself a nice little map. You can see they changed how the map station looks, so now you don't actually have to scan it and miss it like in the last game, which is nice. Then we come into this room over here, and we see so many hanging bodies from the ceilings. They're not hanging per se, but they are hanging upside down, and this guy's feet is right up in our face. And you can read each individual, because apparently each one died a different way, which I find very interesting. And don't forget to scan these creatures here. And then if you come into the next room and scan this dead body here, you can see this guy actually has a log listed on him. And with that, you can actually get the lore of what happened with these troopers here, which I find super interesting. And like I said, and like in the last Prime video, I'm probably going to do a whole separate part at the end of the gameplay section, to where I just read off all the lore, so we have a full comprehensive what the story is around in this game. But yeah, you can see a huge disaster happened here. It's tremendous. And as we activate this bomb slot, we can see these some weird dark mass start infiltrating the dead bodies of these soldiers, causing us to fight the Fallen. which is kind of morbid in a great sense. And as you can see in our scannings of them, they are listed as Darklings. Get ready to hear that word a bunch. Okay, and after scanning that thing and eliminating more of these troopers, we head over into this room over here. And after making our way over here, we come across our very first instance of Dark Samus. And as you can see, she headed straight into a portal. Very weird. So, let's follow her. And after making it to the portal, we see Dark Samus over here absorbing a huge amount of face on. And as we know from the last game, that's what draws in her power. And then a whole bunch of different creatures come after us as well. And after getting ambushed by them, we are forced to retreat, but we take heavy damage to our suit, causing us to lose out on a lot of our stuff. The morph ball, our missiles. The only thing we have left is just our charge shot. Ah yes, classic Metroid, making sure we start at the bare minimum. Really gives you the sense that even though Samus is like super powerful and epic, she's also still super fragile, or at least her suit is, to where like a tiny bombardment of enemies can literally render her suit useless. Well, anyway, after climbing up this elevator over here, we come across these gates. Just open up these gates and blast off the locks. And we make it into this nice little open area of the ruins here. And like I said, be sure to scan all these gates, because all these gates are part of the lore and the mechanisms you need for 100% completion. Like I said, even though I didn't 100% it, I will tell you as much as I can about 100%ing it. And we got some new creatures here. Alright, and the lamest thing about going back into this game and starting all over from consider to the other one, is just not having my double jump anymore. I miss having the space jump. It really feels so limiting not to have a space jump or a double jump. And we make it into the main area of the temple grounds, where we start seeing so many different paths and different ways we can go. We scan this little interface here, and we lower down this crane. And it says it definitely needs a malfunction, so we aim our blaster right at the rope to lower down this giant crate. Again, pretty cool interactive world building over here. And you can see up there, there's one of the very first missile packs. Maybe that'll come into play later on. Alright, then just scan this lock over here, and as you can see, with one door opens, another one closes. So just make sure you get, so just be careful of that. But if you scan that door, you can see it can be destroyed by benzylism. And if you remember from the last game, it can be destroyed by a power bomb. So we just have to wait till then. Anyway, just come to the left over here, scan another corpse for some lore. Destroy these darklings over here. And the way to progress is that there's a little hole to the right over there where we can still use our morph ball ability, get onto the other side, scan that dead corpse for some lore, and then scan that for to open up the gate. After all that, we come across into the GFMC compound, where we see the giant ship that was crash landed and reported missing. And we walk up to this computer over here and stick our iron cannon in it for some reason, because I guess that's how we get to know the story. And we can see that they were on pursuit of an unknown space pirate brigade and ended up on this planet. And just like our ship, their ship was also greatly damaged from the storm upon entering this planet. It wasn't until they split off into two factions that a strange group of creatures started coming around to them that ambushed them and quickly killed off any survivors. Luckily, one person was able to survive and leave a data log of everything that happened. Thank you for your sacrifice. Alright, and if we go around scanning all the dead corpses, we can get everyone's perspective of these events. And these ones are called Forces 1 lore, I believe. So it's a nice little story. It's a nice little thing that they actually split off the whole factions into two different groups, and you can get each different faction's information. And if you enter the ship over here, you can not only get a map of this area, But you can actually scan each of these individual sleeps. You can actually know the names of every trooper in this game and where they were sit. I find that a bit interesting. Alright, and before we head off over here, there's actually one missile pack we can actually get. See this yellow container right here? Just blast it with your charge shot, and you can grab it. However, upon grabbing it, we'll activate a little battle against the strange creatures that overwhelmed these guys in the first place. But luckily, nothing strong that we can't handle, so we quickly dispatch them and continue on. Alright, and upon entering this blast door over here, we'll find one more dead corpse, and that should be every dead corpse of the two different factions that split off in this game. So already you should have 100% logbook for those two groups. And that's another thing this game made new, I should say, is that these morph ball cannons, these weren't that present in the very first one. But what you do is you just hop right in them and it'll blast you to a different part of the area. And this game actually uses like that a lot. Anyway, come over here, and within this little hidden passageway to the left over here, you'll find yourself a nice scanner for the next morph ball cannon. But before you actually go in it, what you want to do is actually crack this wall over here with one missile, allowing it to be easily shattered once you go through the morph ball cannon. Right, and after following the rails and going through that door over there, we find ourselves in a nice weird elevator path. After arriving at the elevator, we make our way to the Great Temple. Now this is where a lot of the main lore and story comes into play. But before you want to get too far, there's actually a nice little save station in the next room, so make sure you handle that as well. And there's also these nice little bats that fly out. If you miss them, don't worry, they reappear in other parts of the game, so don't feel like that's the only time you can scan that. And as you see over here, this rack over here next to the save station is going to be important later on, but we need our morph ball bombs, so keep that in mind for later. Alright, and once we make it into this main plaza area, we encounter our very first little boss fight here. It's not really a boss fight, but we are trapped in arenas with enemies. And these are the same enemies we encountered before, except only this time, they become Darklings. And after dealing with all the little Darklings, the Alpha Splinter will come out. Yeah, make sure you scan not only them, but also scan the cocoon as well, because that's one of the main things. And then after a while, the Alpha Darkling will get possessed. Thus enabling technically the very first boss fight, because this one has a little boss fight. But nothing too much of that. So just defeat it quickly, and then we can move on. Alright, and then we go into this room and we ride the elevator upwards. You'll see this giant energy cycle and this giant beam of energy. And here we meet this guy over here. Do not be afraid. I am Umos, Sentinel of the Luminoth. Please listen. Long ago, a cosmic object fell to our planet, Ether, exploding with great force. A rift was torn in time and space with strange powers. Whether once there was one Ether, there were now two, one of light and one of shadow, each existing in its own dimension. It was the end of a piece of Ether, for a new race was born that day of the Dark World, one filled with hate and terrible power. They are the Ing. The Ing are creatures of shadow and darkness, knowing nothing of peace or mercy. For decades we stood against them, yet we now lie on the verge of defeat. When Dark Ether was born, our planetary energy was divided, half of our world and half for theirs. Should one world gain control of this energy, the other will perish. Before you arrived, the Ing has stolen a device from us, one that collects planetary energy. With it, they have weakened our planet to the verge of collapse. But fortune smiled upon us today, for the energy transfer module is now bonded to you. With it, you can help us restore our world. You're our only hope, Samus. Should we fail, the Ing will look into the stars for new planets to ravage and conquer. Your species could be their next victim. The Ing have taken our energy to 3 temples of Dark Ether. Find these symbols and transfer the energy from them to our own. I have updated your map system with the location of another temple. there's knowledge there that can help you on your way. I have also updated your translator module. You can now access devices and doors with the violet holograms. Many lands are now open to you. Prepare well for your journey. The Inguno that possesses the energy transfer module. They'll try to recover it at all costs. Return to me once you have restored the energy to a temple. I will aid you as I can. May the light of ether shine upon you. And with that, he restores all our health. Cool, so we got a nice little info dump here. So it seems like the space troopers isn't our only objective now. Looks like we're here to help out these people, Mr. Umos here, and restore planetary divinity to this world. But now with that new language module, we can turn around and we can scan this purple little hologram over here. These things are important. These give us the lore of the land. Like I said, I'll do a whole little recap of it later on. But I will show you the locations of it so you guys can find it too. And just an FYI, I am going to be trying to use a guide for this so that way I can smoothly do a 100% run on this. The guide I'm using right now is the IGN one. So let's see how well this one is well. Because the Metroid Prime one was actually pretty well. Let's see if the Metroid Prime 2 one was good. Because I feel like the Metroid Prime one was just only updated for the release of the re-release on Switch, which is why it turned out a lot better. This one definitely feels a bit rougher and aged, I should say. Alright, and after scanning everything in this little area as we can, we'll make our way downstairs again. And we'll scan over this little purple door, which releases down to us. But once we make it back to the central area, those creatures that we fought in that little arena will start popping up all over the place. So make sure you can get a firm and handle them. Once that's done, turn right around. You'll see a nice blast door right behind you. Inside of it is your very first energy tank. It's like a nice little reward after defeating your very first technically true boss fight. Alright, and from here you want to make your way back into the industrial site. You'll see another one of those purple doors. And just scan it down and you'll see a dead corpse on the ground over there. Just make sure you scan it for some more lore to head on through. And before you activate the elevator, head to your left real quick, blast this little thing over there, and you'll see yourself some nice new missile expansion. So, and as well as you move over to the back right side, you'll see a nice little hidden lore piece stuck to the wall over there. Now this is what I mean by the IGN one being a bit rougher, because this one was actually not mentioned in their guide for it. So it's probably like, they probably either forgot about it or this guide is not like a good 100% guide kind of thing. Which is a bit annoying, which means I'm gonna do a lot more exploring on my own as well, just to make sure. But after that we make our way into Agon Waste. And here you can see a whole bunch of new creatures as well as everything around. We'll see a nice little sandworm arena over here. Just blast it with one of its heads exposed. And you just want to also blast this blast door. I will tell you right now, because I noticed this pattern. Anytime you just see like a blast door somewhere, definitely blast it, because odds are there's going to be a save station there. And save stations, as they always do, replenishes your health as well as saves your game. So definitely make sure you blast them and enter them as much as you can. And luckily, since we have missiles already and our charge on, these brimstone riddled rocks over here pose no challenge to us. So all you have to do is just blast them once and you should be good to go to continue on to this path. And you'll probably start noticing a whole bunch of like orange base modules now instead of purple ones. That's because in each new area of the game, there's a whole new language that you must acquire. So your main goal for each area is definitely to find the temple as fast as you can. That way you can get the language module and you can fully explore everything else. So for right now, we're just entering into this like main mine area. And you'll also see space pirates here. And these are the pirates that the original troopers were after. So we know they are based here, and there are a lot more pirates here. And when there's pirates here, you know there's some more nefarious actions being taken here. So we gotta be ready for that stuff. Alright, before you get too far, I like to come over here first. Go through these morph ball cannons. And before you make it go too far into the other direction, when you see this corpse, try to get behind the corpse and do a nice little U-turn over there, because there's actually a missile expansion right behind the corpse. So definitely pick that up. Alright, and after all that, go into the main shaft area again. Go up to this blast door right over here. and you'll see we'll find ourselves a nice giant temple arena. Now these temple arenas are all over the place in this game, and what they hold is, you know, just a nice little boss fight with some creatures. Unfortunately though, a lot of times they eventually become dark versions of them. However, each one of these does hold a new power up for us, so definitely worth our time to do. And this one has our Morpho Bombs power up. You can tell because it's literally shitting out little bombs wherever it goes. So definitely try to get behind it, blast it up, and you'll get yourself your Morpho Bombs. And with them you can just now finally blast down these doors, and you make your way over to this room over here. Well, the only open room that we can go through. And this is what I find a little bit annoying about this, is how every temple has this weird switcher-room area. It kind of feels like it's just a waste of space, but I guess it's just to check you to make sure you got the morph bombs, I guess. But to do it for every room, it just feels kind of annoying. Anyway, after scanning everything, you want to go to the back over here and scan this hologram. Welcome, I am Asha, Sentinel of the Algon Temple. This measure survives my death, as guidance to one who bears it. Our portal to Dark Ether lies nearby. With it you can travel to the land's shadow. You must locate our Dark Temple, a twisted mockery of this sacred place. Inside you find the energy controller you seek. The temple door has 3 locks. The keys to the locks are hidden throughout the dark land. Your search will be difficult. Even the very air of Dark Ether is dangerous and can cripple the strongest of warriors. In our past struggles with the ink, we place a series of light crystals throughout their world. They remain today. These crystals create safe areas that will protect you from the harmful atmosphere of the dark world. I have updated your translator module. You can access devices and doors with amber holograms. More of the world has opened up to you. When you have taken the energy from the Dark Temple, return here at once. May the light of Ether serve you well. So yeah, pretty much this whole game is just like a giant fetch quest between the light and dark aethers. Making sure you collect the energy from the Dark Aether Temple, which looks exactly like the temple down below us, and place it into this giant machine here. Alright, with that out of the way, let's make our way down there. Alright, and you'll see once we make it back into the stand room, there's a door with that new language module right across from us. Just scan it, head on through, and inside you'll find yourself a nice little missile expansion. Pretty neat. And after that, just come over here to this morph ball tunnel. As you can see, as you remember, there's a little kinetic tunnel there, but now that we have the bombs, we can blast it, and we can make our way into up here to get ourselves a brand new energy tank. Alright, and after going back to the left side over here, you'll see 2 important things. One, you'll remember that lore piece of thing right over here, and to the right side of it is a door over here. Now this door, it is an optional thing, but inside of it is a map of the entire place. I would highly recommend getting it, just so we can have like a nice visual of how big the place we should explore is. Alright, and after getting all those power-ups, we make our way back to where we got our first missile expansion in this area, behind that dead corpse in the kinetic ball tunnels, and we continue on into this giant room over here. Now within this room is a whole bunch of pirates, and eventually they actually start becoming dark pirates. I'm not entirely sure what this implies. I'm not sure if this is because the experiments that they're running, or if the ink sees them as powerful people to control. But I am curious to know why they target them specifically. Like I said, I'll have to do some more lore on that. But anyways, if you come behind this stand waterfall to the left over here, you'll see some more lore. And then you start seeing a whole bunch of interesting things all around the room. First thing you want to do is just energize this bomb tunnel over here, so you can start doing this little bomb puzzle over here. And what you want to do is, see all those little alloys around the areas? You gotta blast them with your bombs to lower down a giant panel. Do that 3 times on each side. and get some practicing with your double bomb jump, because knowing what happened last game, you're probably going to need this again. And after all that, you raise the third one, and now the portal's reactivated. And this one I got a little bit stuck on, just because it wasn't entirely obvious what you have to do to activate it. But all you have to do is literally go up to the portal. On the left hand side, you'll see a glowing red little mark. All you have to do is scan it, and then the portal will activate. It's a bit hard to figure out, just because, like I said, you literally have to figure everything out. Nothing is handed to you in this game. And with the portal reactivated, we can step through and make our way over to the Dark Aether. And as you can see, there's like a giant force field all around us. And that is because if we step outside of it, we start taking damage. Unfortunately, there is no good way for us to not take damage, actually. So we have to venture out. Before we do, what you want to do is like quickly turn around, scan the portal real quick, because you can actually scan the portal that returns us to the light ether, as well as the dark one. But for the dark one, we have to go through that cutscene, so it's... you can always do that a little bit later. And as you can see, there's like little light blocks all over the place. If you shoot them, it actually creates a nice little barrier all around. So definitely shoot those as much as you can. And when you're within the barrier, it actually refills your health steadily, which is a really nice addition. Yep, but after all that, you want to make your way to this half-pipe room over here. This room does have a missile tank in it, but we can't get it until we get the boost ball ability. So we'll just continue going forward until we see a nice save station. After saving and refilling your health a little bit, we can continue going forward. And as you can see, there's tons of different dark lanes all over the place. And a lot of them come out from these weird puddles of goop. And whatever is actually within it, you can actually just shoot the goop itself, and it'll actually destroy the creature. After we deal in that, we have to climb our way all the way up, and try to reach the same point as we did back in the light world, where we try to find the temple room. But yeah, it really goes to show like how both of these worlds are pretty much exactly the same, except one's like a really weird dark reflection of it. And within the dark world too, a lot of paths are like disconnected too and different. Alright, now we're making it to here, and we have to deal with another boss here, the Jump Guardian. Pretty much just like the Ink Warrior, just kind of annoying. Only except this guy, he has a nice powerful jump attack, which sends out a shockwave. Just be careful, stay within the bubble, he should be no threat. And with his defeat, we actually get the space jump boots. Again, we get this so much faster compared to the other game. And like I said, it feels so good to actually have a double jump now. And with the double jump now available, we can make our way over to this blast door on the opposite side here, and make our way into the Dark Temple Axis, to where we can finally get into the Dark Temple. But as you can see, as the guy reminded you, that we do need to find 3 keys in order to gain access into the temple once and for all. And the 3 keys are hidden within the Dark Realm. And the first one's actually to the left over here, hidden in this room over here. Now if you remember, in the Light World variant, there was a dark door, or a light door here. So you definitely got to recheck all the areas, because a lot of the doors opening and closing are different between light and dark. But also just be very careful, because your life drains really, really fast when you're out here in the dark world. So definitely try to navigate the map as best as you can, so that you don't have to suffer a lot of damage. And whenever you can, definitely get to a save station, that way you can just recharge all your health there. But now that you have the key and the space jump boots, what you want to do is return back to the very first portal that we entered, return back to the light world, because now we can access a lot more areas there, and get into different portals. And after doing that, you just slot this card over here, and you can get yourself another missile expansion. And then it's a nice little fast travel back to the save station that's over here in the Mayan Plaza. But yeah, now with the space boots, we can go on top of that weird looking Guardian's head over there, jump across there, and activate a nice little thing, as well as collect some lore, and make our way through this tunnel over here, where we start seeing some Phazon containments. Seems like the space pirates are not done with their experiments on Phazon whatsoever. So what you want to do is come over here, you'll start seeing some pirates, and you have to battle them out. But you also see one of their space cruisers. This is the only other cruiser in the entire game, and make sure you scan them. as well as scan these turrets that the pirates are blasting you with, because this is one of the only times you'll be able to scan them. So definitely try to scan them before you destroy them. And then if you enter the door here, you will start seeing why this place is so heavily guarded. If you come over here and enter this weird tunnel over here, you start seeing like a giant base of space pirates, and they all just went into a portal. Right, and after following the tunnel over here, they'll spot you and they'll see that so they'll close off the gates and everything. And after destroying all the pirates here, you can scan every single computer here for some nice lore of what's going on here. And from these computers, we can tell a little bit that there's definitely some Metroid experience going on over here. And they're having some trouble with a Dark Hunter as well. Very interesting stuff. Anyway, after doing all the ground once, come up to this elevator. And you'll see one more space pirate. Defeat him, and this door will unlock. Go through that door, you'll see another space pirate through that room over there. You can kill him through the glass, which is nice, but it's kind of dumb because you can't actually shoot through the glass. And we see a very brief cutscene of Dark Samus over there, right past over there. Unfortunately, we cannot get to her as of right now, but what we can do is just come over here, activate this computer over here to reactivate to lower down the shields over there. That out of the way. And we can go through there over there. But before we get too far, what you want to do is come back actually into this little maze, because there is a missile tank on the far right side over here that you can get. I like doing this a little bit after, just so you don't have to deal with the stupid electrical traps. Right, and then you'll just come over here through that laser system, deal with that one annoying pirate, and you start seeing that Metroids are being encased and experimented on. And what's more, that these Metroids are actually the same Metroids that are from Talon 4. Meaning that they definitely had some survivors as well as some escape artists that happened during Metroid Prime. Right, and then just come over here, up and around, scan this computer for some more pirate lore, and then you'll just head straight on over. Right, you'll eventually end up in this room where we fight a common enemy back in Metroid Prime, these flying space pirates. Deal with them pretty quickly, and then once that's done, this terminal will activate. Activate that terminal right over there, and with that allows you to access these weird little files up here. And what you want to do is to go to the other side and you'll start seeing these red dots all across the computers, and I believe one side lowers them and one side raises them. Make it a nice staircase that leads over to the right side over there, because on the right side there is a space energy tank that you can collect. And then once you collected that, try to lead the staircase to the other side. And you're probably wondering what our goal is right now. Well, luckily with this nice little hint system, it actually tells you our goal is that the space pirates developed a certain weapon that's located in this area, which is where we're heading. So after going through that blast door and reactivating, going to the space station, make sure you scan the lore that's literally right behind it that you can easily miss. We'll see a nice little opening in this crack over here. All you have to do is just blast it with a missile, and then we'll make it into this nice little boss arena. But what are we fighting this time? Well, it's none other than our first fight with Dark Samus, who's trying to absorb that Phazon crystal. And after that we have a nice little standoff. And she starts overloading with power. Now, Dark Samus in this game is very tricky, so to speak. As you can see, she has a very powerful multi-shot that spreads out a lot more, but luckily you can use these pillars for some defense. And she also has a really powerful energy shield, where she overloads herself with Phazon that makes her impervious to damage. So what you want to do is try to bait that shield, make her run up close so she can use an electrical attack. And then once that's lowered, you can start blasting her with missiles and or charge shots. And once she goes down, you can see her literally self-destruct and evaporate into tons of tiny little Phazon particles. But if you did scan her before the fight, you could see that Dark Samus, that was only 1 out of 25 scans for her. And does that mean it'll come back another time? Only time will tell. Well, anyway, just scan this elevator over here, come over to this room, and we'll acquire our new beam, the Dark Beam. Now, I will say, like, the names of the beams in this game are kind of mid, because it's just Power Beam and then this Dark Beam. Sure, it blocks a giant shot of dark matter areas, but it's kind of meh. It's really good for killing enemies, charge shot variant, because it allows them to paralyze things and then just missile it later. And now we make it back into this research facility here, because now we got to do more things in here. Before anyhand, scan this specific pirate, because he's actually a grenade launcher pirate, which is a different form. Anyway, now with the Dark Beam, just shoot the portal with it, and it reactivates it. Very interesting. And now you can do that with any of those kind of portals you find in the light world. Just shoot it once with the Dark Beam, and you can travel back into and form the dark world. And if you make a rest side over here and look up, you'll see the next key we need to grab. Before any hand, you need to scan in a whole bunch of different stuff. For example, you need to scan this little crystal right here. It is important to lower bidets, and if you do, it lowers this platform. And as you can see all around in this room, that the pirates that invaded this place all fell victim to the environment here, because they were not properly ready. But good on the soldiers to go blindly into an area they have no familiarity with, only for it to end up badly. Alright, now we make it into this room. You'll see there is a giant wall here, but we cannot destroy it with anything right now. So what you want to do for right now is just head over to the right side of it. You'll find yourself a nice light portal. Ignore that for right now and just head over to the next room. Next you'll be in the whole half pipe room again. And this time you'll see another crystal here. Make sure you scan that crystal as well, because it is again another part of another lore thing. Kind of feels like it should have been the same one as we just scanned a little bit ago, but who am I, the judge? And we'll make it to a nice save station. Make sure you save, because we're coming up is a next boss fight. And you make your way into this nice little morphball tunnel with this portal here. Try not to spend too much time in the phase-on, and if you need to rest, definitely rest up, because this next boss can be a bit of a pain. But before we get in there, make sure you come into this giant deposit of phase-on material here. Seems like there was a bunch of things going on over here. And you'll see like there's a large lock on this room over here. Make sure you go to these 3 little control keys to unlock that door. As you do, you come into this room over here. You find like some weird sacks up on the wall. You can't do much of that for right now, so just make it to the other side. Go through that blast door. Whenever you see these pillars, just make sure you blast them with the Dark Beam, and they actually provide you a nice little safe haven. And then once you scan that here, and go up to this door over here, we find ourselves the another beam, the Light Beam. So literally, we get 2 of the beams right away, pretty much. And what this one does, it shoots beams of light, and actually deals with a lot of the Darklings really fast, too. And another important note, you know those canisters that we've been shooting to give us some more missiles and canisters? Well now, if you shoot it with either the Light or Dark Beam, it'll give you ammunition for the opposite effect. So if you shoot it with Light Beam, you get Dark, and if you shoot it with Dark, you get Light. This is how you get your Light and Dark ammo into remain consistently high, because there are some instances where you can run out of it, especially when you're dealing with boss enemies and enemies in general within the Dark World. But also be wary with both of them, because as of right now, they're kind of mid with the charge shot variant, I should say. The Light Beam does like a giant scatter shot that's sometimes home in, whereas the Dark one shoots a giant lob of darkness, but it's super slow moving, so you gotta be up close and personal to use it. Also, make sure you hit both these crystals and those bubbly things with both the light and dark variants, because they are important scannables. And when you come back into this room over here, head to the light door now, and you can find yourself a nice ammo supply station. And it refills not only your missiles, but also the light and darkness. And you're going to need it for this upcoming areas. But with that refilled, you can now back into the portal room, and instead of going to the other side, we head over to the right side to that dark door above here. and you'll start seeing some very interesting things. First off, before you want to go anywhere, do a nice little scan of the dark lane that's right underneath there, and then go into the next room. You'll see the last of the dark keys that we need to get, but it gets swallowed up and picked up by these horde of darklings. And before anything, make sure you scan that. And before anything, make sure you scan that door right over there, because it is being blocked by a brand new entity that does require for 100% completion. And this is one of the only times you'll be able to see it. Now, and as you can see, I ran out of light beam ammo, but there is a fun little glitch that you can do with this game. So if you hold the charge beam variant of it, it actually shoots out a basic light beam ammo of it. So you can actually abuse the light beam ammo and not carry any, but still shoot it out. It's a nice little thing, so that way you don't get soft locked in a lot of areas. But I don't think it works for the dark variant of it, so only make sure you use it for the light variant. Anyway, with that out of the way, we can grab ourselves the dark key, and now we can make it back into that area that has the 3 locks on it. Alright, now let's blast this portal with the light beam, return back to the light world. And we can see we're actually back in the boss room again, but on the other sides. And we'll just make our way through over here. You see that the Metroids have escaped now. Luckily, the dark beam is actually a really good counter to them. If you fully charge it, it actually stops them in their place, which allows you to use one missile to defeat them. So keep that in mind. But yeah, Metroids have infested this whole place now. Just gotta be wary of that. But if we make it back into this Metroid room and you blast this dark door, we can actually find another missile expansion here. Alright, and if we exit out from the command center back into this central area over here, we can see we can now see the spaceship the space pirates use, so make sure you scan that. And we can actually activate the turrets that the space pirates were using in that battle as well. So, what you want to do is definitely blast those 2 wind turbines. And once you start doing that, space pirates will come out, so make sure you destroy them. Make sure you hit the bottommost space pirate ship, that way you can make yourself a nice platform. And then finally, just make sure you blast that wall over there so you can gain access to it, because there is something in there that we can get. Alright, and after going into the wall, we can actually make it over here, where we'll find some more pirate lore. Should be the last one for Cycle 7. And if you come over here to this force field, you actually see a little morph ball hole, and you'll see a brand new expansion pack. But it's not a missile one, it's for the beams. That's right, now the dark and light engine can have a nice big expansion, a plus 50. And it actually shows you how many there are in the whole game, which is really nice. There's only a grand total of 4 different ones you can have. But the grand total for both of them will be 250. And now we just make our way back to the main portal room into that locked door area. And don't forget to scan the portals, just so you know, have that information for your logbooks. Alright, and before you go back into the temple, make sure you save at the station so you can have a nice full health for the impending battle that's happening there. And also make a stop at the ammo recharge station as well if you're running low on missiles and or beam attacks. But I think I can do it with just this. So just scan this door, put in the 3 keys into this nice hologram, and make our way to this boss arena. And as you can see, it is the giant worm from the actual from the light world, except now there's like 3 separate parts of them, and they're all darkened. Now, the way to beat this one is you gotta make sure you blast each of them until like a piece of them falls out, and when it does, turn into a little morph ball, gets sucked into it, and blast them from the inside with a bomb. It's actually pretty cool how they incorporated both the physical and the morph ball technology into this fight. Alright, and you gotta do that 3 times for each of the heads. But luckily, once you get rid of one of them, it actually gives you a nice recharge station of both health and weapons, so feel free to use as many as you can. Alright, and like I said, we'll eventually you just have to repeat this process multiple times. Just be careful, so that because it can drain your health a lot if you stay out of it too soon. But once that's all done, we can actually get our very first suit upgrade, the Dark Suit. And honestly, I kind of don't like the design of this at all. It feels way too, like, bulbous and brown. It does not look good. And the morph ball of it kind of looks ass a bit too. I don't know, I'm not a fan of the suits in this game, per se. But anyway, after defeating it, you come back to this similar looking elevator. Come into this area over here. And we stick our arm cannon right into the hole, and we absorb the planetary energy from this area. Which not only gives us a full health upgrade, but it accomplishes this part of the area's mission. And with that, we have to travel all the way back into the light world, go to that same exact spot in the light world, and deliver it to that guy over there. And oh yeah, just to forget that the whole purpose of the dark suit is that you take a lot less damage in the dark ether now. So your health doesn't drain as much, but it still drains pretty fast, I would say. It's like, it's not as fast, but it still drains, so it kind of makes it a bit worthless in a sense. Honestly, I might try a whole run of the game where I just avoid picking up that dark suit and try to do the whole thing without it. Because like I said, it kind of feels like it doesn't do much. Let me know if you guys feel like I should attempt that challenge. Might be a fun thing to do when I get into like Ridley's lore or ZSS's. I will entertain that idea for a bit. Alright, and after sticking the planetary energy into that little thing, you can see the energy being transported back into the Great Temple over there. And the warrior who we talked to in the hologram gives us his thanks and disappears finally. And with that, that's the Aegon Waste main storyline all done. So let's head back, and if you're wondering what to do next, well, all you have to do is just head back to the Great Temple, speak with the Elder there. He'll tell you about your next objective. I think you can just skip the talking with him and just go over there. But for the story-wise, I'll keep it in here. And this place, this tunnel area right here, it definitely feels like I should be able to double bomb jump in here, but maybe not, I don't know. Editor's note, don't skip it. You can actually double bomb jump here. I didn't realize this until the very end of the game, but if you want an extra energy tank, definitely double bomb jump this little areas over here for it. Anyway, making our way back into the Great Temple. And I'm just realizing this now too. Wow, we are very stacked already for coming to this game. Because not only we have a lot of missiles, but we also have our 2 different beams, our space jump, a brand new chute. So it feels like we're really stacked as at suit capacity already, which feels kind of awesome already. Because it already feels like so much of the world is already opened up to us as I made my way back to the Great Temple. Alright, and once we get back to the Great Temple, first things first, he thanks us for returning back that energy. Our valor honors the Lumineth, those who have passed on, and those who remain here under my protection as they steep into deep stasis. He then tells us just to be on guard because the Ing does not suffer defeat lightly. They will definitely seek me out now for revenge. And since a lot of them got destroyed in the desert, they would definitely increase their forces in the other lands, which is the next one we're going to, is like a nice swamp area, which is a real annoyance because as we know in other Metroid games in water, water and swamplands can definitely hinder our movement a great amount. So maybe this is where we get our next gravity suit for sure. Alright, and with that little explanation out of the way, we make our way back into that main temple area, scan the orange little hologram, and we can make our way over into the swamplands. It kind of checks you a little bit by making sure you have the dark beam and the light beam by blasting this crystal here. And hey, look, it is those energy beams from the last game. Here they are. Why they're here, who knows? But it seems like it could just be defeated by dark energy, which is nice. And now we make our way through back into the this weird thing. And that's the thing I realized afterwards, is that this whole area is actually one giant connective thing. Like, it feels like we should be transported directly into the swamplands after all that, but now we're right back into these weird ground area. And in this hot fight, just so you know, you can actually scan that lore that's right up there. Just give yourself a nice little boost, and you can get it right into the land over there. And the first thing you want to do to try to get into the swampland is blast this dark portal right over here, right next to this green door. Head on over into this area over here. Make your way past all these eye turrets that are reminiscent of other eye turrets from another game. And eventually you'll find yourself on this nice little morph ball puzzle, I might ask. To where after you blast a certain hole, it actually blocks off a certain area. I believe the way you want to do it is start off at this one, and then, yes, because each of them goes in, like, if you start on the right side over here and you count it 1, 2, 3, 4, what you want to do is count it 2, 3, 4, and go back to 1, I believe is the answer. And once that's done, it activates a little hologram here, which activates a little escalate path. And there's just going to be some annoying darkling bat-like things here, so just blast them when you're here. And you'll enter into another light portal. And don't screw up like the jump like I did, because then you have to do the whole thing all over again. Once you've done that, you'll make it back into the light world in this area over here, where we start seeing some more dark pirates show up, as well as these weird blocks with dark crystals on it. You shoot them with your light ray, and it'll move them out of the way. And if you do that with every one of them, you eventually see this green door over here. Make a nice note of it for later. And travel all the way over to the end over there, to where we can finally get over to the bog area. Also, fun little fact, if you come back over to this little missile if you come over to this wall over here, you can actually see some lore over there. You can actually scan that lore right before heading into the bog. And right away, you can see like the bog is home to like these weird eyeball things. Apparently they were useful back in some other times, but if you scan them, they actually provide you with a little bit of lore. And once you get to the main area here, make sure you scan the corpse, head immediately over to the left side right over there, because there is a safe station nearby. That way you can save your progress, as well as give yourself a nice pull. Alright, and the first place you want to go to once you're in the bog is head underwater, in fact. You'll see there's a dark door over here. Make your way towards that door. And once you make your way to the other side, you'll start encountering these really annoying creatures that pretty much turn invisible to your visors because of some weird echo or vibration thing. So in order to kill them, you just gotta wait until they pop out and just start blasting them. Again, really annoying. But like I said, there's some interesting things here and there. And what you want to do is go through the blast door. You see this dark portal and a missile tank right over there. Fortunately, we can't get to it just yet. But in the meantime, just scan this little thing and we'll have a nice little short path back from the beginning over into this area. And if you continue onward, we'll eventually make up to this part of the level, to where we see actually kind of my favorite little enemies in this game, the creatures. I love these guys, but they're so annoying to fight, especially right now. What you want to do is just spam missiles on their backsides until their tails fall off, and then keep blasting them as well, because that doesn't kill them, it just exposes their weak point. And once you make it to this bridge over here, you can hop right back into the dark portal over here. Make it to this Darklands area over here. Make sure you scan all the wildlife and everything because they are important. Then you come over to this little thing, and this is how you turn the bridge both in the light and dark worlds. And if you look down here, actually, this little thing over here is actually very reminiscent of another creature that was also in Super Metroid. But it seems like there's only a dark version of this beast, which makes things very interesting. If this is here naturally, or if it was brought in. Anyway, after turning that bridge, just go back to the portal, return to the world of light. But this time you'll see there's some shadow pirates here. And these guys are really annoying at this point, because they actually camouflage and become invisible to our visor. And you get such a short window to actually attack them. But apparently you do need to kill them because they actually block the doors, so just deal with that as best as you can. I recommend using the Dark Beam, and after that, climb onto the bridge, and you'll get yourself a free missile expansion right before a door we need to go through. Alright, and here's a little morph ball puzzle over here, and this one is actually a little bit annoying just because of the creature that's there. You see, the creature that's there only attacks you in the morph ball suit, and it only really activates once you're in the puzzle. So you gotta make sure you really bait and switch out whenever you can to get through it. Alright, and after that, just go through this tunnel, deal with another annoying one of those things. So just drop down, head to the light door right over there, and you'll see an activation of a nice kinetic morph ball thing. Use that to get onto the bridge above, and then just go right through that door. Alright, and after going through the dark door, make sure you scan this little thing here, because you see there's a nice little bombable area here. Yep, just bomb it, and you get yourself a free missile expansion. And finally go through the door over there. When you go through the door, you will see we actually made it into the temple of this place. And immediately we start getting ambushed by space pirates again on that spacecraft. just swiftly deal with those guys, and it shouldn't be a big problem. Yep, and once all those are done, we can have ourselves a brand new upgrade, the super missiles. And just like in Metroid Prime, all it does is during your charge shot, you can press Y and you can do 5 missiles at once to do 1 powerful missile. And now, more importantly, the green doors are now available to us. Right, with that out of the way, just go up this elevator here, do the same exact thing that we did in the previous temple, and you'll find yourself some more lore. But more importantly, we can now access the green hologram stuff. And the main reason why I skipped a lot his dialogue was just because he didn't really say anything too much interesting or new in our case. He just tells us we can now scan the emerald stuff for that lore. So make sure you grab that stuff. And there's one lore right behind us, so make sure you grab it. Alright, and with that, we just scanned this nice green thing in the middle of the temple, and it allows us to access a secret elevator that's right on the bottom. But before we go that far, let's quickly scan this emerald door right over here, because it actually gives us a brand new map of this place. And we can see there's a whole underground section in this game. So let's go back into the magnetic tunnel and get back to that elevator over there. Now there's tons of paths we can go. The first path we should definitely go through is through this green hologram over here. And right here, you'll see yourself another one of these assholes, but in a tight corridor, making this one so much harder to defeat. And there's some new lore at this on this wall, so make sure you grab that. But before you get too far, make sure right when you drop down, there's actually a hidden missile expansion right underneath the grate that we were at. So make sure to grab that before we get too far out of this place. Alright, and next on our list is these really annoying pirates. These are technically new pirates, so make sure you scan them. And then once they're defeated, it unlocks that door right above us. Unfortunately for us though, we can't get to it for right now. So let's just go through this door right over here and scan the portal to get right back into the dark world. Once there, we'll encounter a brand new creature, the Hunters. Now these guys are extremely annoying because they only phase in and out every so often, and you can only hit them when they're not glowing red in their physical form. So it requires a lot of timing and patience to defeat these guys. It's so annoying. But once you defeat them, just start climbing around these mushrooms over here to get to the top over here, and make it to that hex door over there. Man, why am I saying hex door? I started reading that in IGN. They call every door here a hex door, and it's really brain rotting my brain over here. But if you just travel up here, you'll find a nice save station. Alright, and just climb right upwards, and you'll start seeing some familiar enemies again. We'll start seeing those beam of light creatures again. But this time you can just blast them with a dark beam, and they die instantly. And all of that, they can provide you a nice little safe area, which is really nice. Alright, and after passing through and going through that morphball tunnel, you'll end up over here. Make sure you scan this guy for some lore. And you'll see there's a dark key right above there, but we can't get to it yet, because we have to go through here and defeat this boss here. Now this boss is definitely my #1 hardest enemy to deal with in this game. For many reasons. One, it's just kind of hard to figure out what the hell you're supposed to do for a lot of it. When actuality, what you want to do is, when he's in that morph ball phase and boost ball phase, as well as the puddle, what you want to do is go into your morph ball phase and start laying bombs everywhere. That's the only way you can get him out of that phase. It's actually really annoying, and it took me so long to figure out. As a matter of fact, I actually failed this fight the first time around. Forced me to try this fight, I think 2 or 3 times, just because you take so much damage just for being in the overworld, and there's no safe zones for you to be in. That's the main reason why this fight was so challenging. It's just there's no safe place to be in at all in this fight. But once you eventually get him all down and he's defeated, you'll find yourself with a brand new power-up, the Boost Ball power-up. One of my favorites. And with our newly acquired boost ball, just go right into the previous room over here and start grinding on those half bites till you get that dark key over there. And once that's acquired, you can exit out of this room with it. And drop a big ol' save, because you definitely don't want to repeat that boss fight again. And then just make your way back into the realm of light. And now with our new boost ball ability, we can get up this half pipe right over here. and we can platform our way all the way around to get to this hex door right over here. Or this dark door, I should say, right over here. I gotta stop saying hex. And right over here, just scan these creatures. This is like the only room that has these creatures, so make sure you get them. You'll eventually find this nice little spinner over here. Just use this, you can create a nice little shortcut in the Forgotten Bridge area. Alright, and if you make your way through the light doors of that area, you'll eventually go back all the way back to the beginning, to the temple transport area. But now that we have the boost ball, we can actually get so many more different power-ups now if you guys want. Which is what the guy I'm reading says we can do now, so might as well just start doing that a little bit now. Probably in my repeat of this game, I probably won't do it now. I'll probably save it for a lot later. But I'm just following the guide for right now. But now that we also have the super missiles, we can go over here into this door. And as you can see, there's a giant leap of faith here. Right. Also, right at the beginning over here in this torso bog area, there's this dark crystal right here. And what you want to do is use the half pipe that we saw in the very beginning, go through this little morphle tunnel right over here. We'll end up in a pretty interesting area. We'll end up in a whole like giant temple area. And this place will actually become super important later on, but for right now, we can't do much in here. Except for this little puzzle over here, where there's a whole bunch of spinners around the room. Just spin until the floor starts glowing. Once it's glowing, that means you can stop. I recommend getting the outer ones done first, because it does seem like some of them like spin other ones. It's kind of weird. Once that's all done, it actually reveals to us a brand new item here, and this item is none other than the Seeker Launcher. Now this is like a really weird power-up because it allows you to target multiple things at once with missiles, so you can destroy them simultaneously. Very little boss and enemies utilize this, and the ones that do, you just find super annoying. And it's kind of finicky, just because it feels like you have to waste one missile just so you can get the scoper out. I wish there was just like a better way you can actually use it without wasting a missile. The way I can see it is not really a good one. Well, anyway, after all that, you come over to this room over here, and we made ourselves a complete U circle back to our ship. And with that, we can actually go back to the beginning area of the game now. Create ourselves some nice little fast passes to and from that area, as well as collect some missile expansions that we previously couldn't get to. The first one of which is located right next to a whole morphle tunnel. The next one is actually inside this guy, which is a dark missile trooper. Yep, that's right. Not only do they possess the bodies, but now they just made this one infinitely more stronger now, with his own little health bar. Make sure you scan him because he is the only one of his kind. And you get yourself a nice missile expansion, which was located inside this guy. Kind of morbid if you think about it. Alright, with that out of the way, we can now make our way back to the area we previously were. Alright, once you're back in the bogs, go all the way back to that temple, and that elevator we scanned, yeah, we're finally going down it now. But this time, go through this green missile door we find over here, and you'll see there's an elevator that takes us even lower into the bogs. And what we find there is the hydro station. Seems like this whole planet was experimenting with hydroelectricity. Alright, and you'll start seeing some very interesting things when we're down here. Very first of which is these very aggressive fish over here. Definitely kill these things. And what do we have to do is you have to hit them with a charge shot first. It'll do nothing, but as it charges at you, charge another one, then use a super missile when its mouth is completely open to kill it in one hit. Now, you want to get some practice of that, because it actually becomes super important later on. Plus, there is one enemy that's hidden behind these fish that needs these ones in particular to be destroyed. So make sure you destroy it so you can scan a new creature. Alright, and what you want to do is platform your way to this little thing over here. And it actually releases a guardrail here. We need to do this a few more times. And the other ones are located higher up. To get there, you can just go to this morphle thing and activate. And go straight to the top. But before you go there too far, you gotta immediately go through that blast door over there because it's actually a save station there. And with that save in there, you're free to go in and out of this place. Now the next place you want to go is literally right where this Mistral expansion is. You'll see a nice purple door, and thanks to the scanner that we just got, we can now fully access it. And once there, we'll see Dark Samus again, fully revived, leaving tons of Phazon particles again. So it seems like even though we destroyed her physical body, she can just reincarnate with enough Phazon stuff. Very interesting. So does that mean we truly can't kill Dark Samus? Or do we just kill her enough times and be in a place where there's no Phazon whatsoever? Anyway, while I'm thinking about that, make sure you go activate this red tube over here and make sure all the red tube lines up so you can scan there, get some lore. Alright, and before you guys too far, I actually missed this on my first time here because like I said, it doesn't tell you in the tour, but there's actually a double bomb jump puzzle literally right here. And what you have to do is literally double bomb jump up into this specific tube to activate a bomb slide over there. And then it activates and it'll reverse the thrusters on another one. You got a double bomb jump there for the energy tank. It's actually kind of challenging. I kind of wish they actually told you about this in the IGN guide. Like I said, this one's not that good in comparison. Anyway, we come over to this room over here. We start scanning some other things. We go through the dark door that's down here, and we'll end up over here to the second of the switchers we need to flip. And once we return there, you'll notice that the blocks that we killed are actually a lot smaller. That's because these ones are the baby blocks. Because you killed the bigger ones, the smaller ones take their place, which is a whole different thing, apparently. Anyway, once that's done, go back to the room where we had that red tube. Now switch it over to the blue side, and we'll do the same exact thing on that side. Now this room that we're in is going to be very important to us for many multiple reasons. Alright, the first thing you want to do is, as always, make sure you clear out these guys, get enough practice in. And you see this creature down here? Well, what you can do with them is that you can actually flip them over with your dark beam, and it provides you with a nice platform. The lore wise of this is saying it seems like the Ing brought this into our world as a way to as a hazard for us, when in actuality it was a platform for them. Very interesting stuff. Anyway, after that, just platform across, activate this bomb slot right over here, activate the door so we can get into the dark world right over here. Alright, and what you want to do in this room is activate the spinner item over here. Make sure it spins over into this specific spot. You know it's the right spot when a cutscene plays. Then return back into the light world. And we'll see the spinner is actually changed in the real world as well. And with that in place, we can it actually powers up a platform so we can make it to this cannon over here. And we make it through here to go find the last of the locks that we need to get. Kind of forgot that this was the main goal at this point, you know. But with all those locks released, it reveals a hidden passage underneath that thing. And this is where we need to go to find that lost tech that's indicated on our map. Now, before you go too far, make sure you scan this guy over here because he is a boss fight that we need to do soon. And it's easier if you scan him with it while he's in a cage. That way you don't have to scan him mid-fight. Go all the way down through the door over there. You'll see there's one lone door here. Just quickly go through it and we'll grab ourselves the gravity boost. Now this is very opposite of what Metroid does, because instead of fighting the boss to get it, we actually get this before the boss fight, which is very interesting. But what the gravity boost does is not only does it let us move freely in water now, but it also lets us hover in water for a short amount of time. So it's not exactly a whole suit upgrade, but a whole new suit I should say, but it's more like just a suit upgrade. But upon getting it, we'll have to fight the alpha block that we scanned a little bit ago. And the way to defeat them is the same way you defeat the other blocks. Just hit it with a charge shot and it'll come rushing in, and right before it attacks you, it opens the mouth, and that's where you shoot a super missile in. And this one, I'm not sure the proper way to do it, because it feels like I just need to damage sponge a lot of it. And it feels like I'm barely missing the timing for everything too, which is super annoying. Jesus, I'm literally getting down to the last hit here, and oh my god, I think We were literally last hit for both of us. One of us was gonna die there. Luckily, it was it. Alright, and with that thing gone, now you can just use your new booster to get all the way back up. And you can kill these fish here for some nice health and missiles. And if you kill all of them, you should be fully stocked on missiles and almost full health. Really nice. What you want to do is go back to the main hydro station right over here. Because what you want to do now is, after all that, you want to make a nice big save. That way you can replenish your health as well as save that boss fight encounter. Or if you're feeling feisty, you can go right back into the Dark World, which is located right above that little access area. Because what you need to do is grab the Dark Key that's there. Actually, yeah, do that first. Just grab the Dark Key and immediately just come right out of it. Because there's literally nothing else we can do in this area, because both of them requires a new lock that we don't have access to. Alright, and when that's done, come into this room over here. You know it's the right one if you see two more of those lizard guides there. Activate the underwater bomb slot there, so you can go through the dark portal that's located here. Once there, you'll see a dark version of those guys. Even though they are more dangerous, the same method applies. The backsides are the weak point, so just make sure you just hit them in the back with some powerful shots. Alright, and then you'll make your way into this room over here. There's a hunter ink in there, so just make quick work of that. And go through the light door real quick. And you'll go into this weird little dark phase over here. Now, again, I don't think I need to reveal the IGN puzzle, because there's actually a missile expansion hidden here that I literally had to backtrack in order to get. But it's located in that little area over there. Literally, on the leftmost part of that little safe area there, there's a missile right in there. You just gotta do some bomb jumps to try to find it. Then all you have to do is just make your way into the crypt over here. Platform up to go through this light door over here, and you'll find yourself into this giant room over here. And this room is pretty much just a hydro station, but in the Dark World. And you'll find two hunter inks here. Again, really annoying enemies. Just use your light beam to try to get rid of them as fast as you can. And literally in the same exact place, there's a blast door there, and there you can save your game. Definitely save it here, because there's actually another boss fight that's up and coming that you would like a lot of health for. And to get there, all you have to do is just quickly drop down here into that safe area over there, and you'll see there's a little hatch that has a bomb slot in it. Bomb it, and it'll rotate the whole thing into the area we need to get to. And after progressing through that tunnel, we'll find our next boss, the Grapple Guardian. And as the name implies, this guy holds the grapple beam upgrade. And the way to defeat this one is actually pretty much the same as the last one, but also his eye is also a weakness, so just shoot him in the eye a bunch until he staggers or tries to use his grapple beam. But when he tries to use his grapple beam, quickly run behind these things, because it forces him to get pulled in by those beams, which allows us to quickly go behind him and shoot him with super missiles to expose his back. It does get a bit finicky and annoying, because depending on how close he is when the grapple beam hits the pillar, he can either do nothing, or he can float all the way towards it and force things to get hit. Again, in my case, definitely do it when he's like in the middle of the room. That way he actually gets pulled in and he's stuck there. That way it gives you enough time to actually circle around him. And eventually he'll start just going on a huge rampage. When he does that, just make sure you shoot him in the eye, and then you just have to circle around him real quick. Or you can do the brute force fight and just shoot him in the eye after he staggers. That way you don't have to rotate around. That's what I'm doing, at least. And once he's done, we can actually get ourselves our next upgrade, the grapple beam. And just like in previous Metroids, if you see something up in the air that you can grapple to, you'll just be able to swing. As so. But now that we got that, let's make our way back to the save area right up here. Do a nice save, because you definitely don't want to go through that again. Then we can move on. Alrighty, with the grapple beam now in hand, we can go back over here and swing on the left side over here to reach this light door over here. We can make it back into the crypt over here now. Make it a whole complete circle. And with that, we can go right back into the world of light. And in the world of light, now instead of interacting with those platforms anymore, you can just grapple on over both to the canyon and onto the other side. And with all that stuff, now you can make your way back into the actual bog area of this bog and out of the hydroelectric plant. And you'll see there's this purple door right over here. What you want to do is, classic missile thing. I did find out a pretty cool way to actually not waste the missile. If you actually change it to a morph ball and hold the Y button or the missile button, it actually doesn't shoot out the first missile and it'll automatically go into the reticle thing. So that's a good way to save a missile if you're running low to activate the scan. Right, and after going through that elevator over here, we make our all the way back into the Agon Wasteland over here. Now here you can get another missile pack, but it's one of those ones where I missed it on the very first time. I had to go all the way back for it. But now that you have the boost ball, you can boost ball on these panels over here and travel to and from and get to the portal up there. And when you do, just go into the dark world and get the missile packs right there. But with that done, come back to the light world and head back into the Agon's temple over here. We're gonna go into this dark door over here, make our way across there. And this is the second time I thought to myself, it really feels like I should be able to double bond jump some of these things. And of course I don't know until so much later. But anyway, after going through there, you'll see another purple door. Just do a nice missile thing here. And you'll start seeing these new entries, where these ones travel to and from our realm as well, which is really weird. And our goal right now is try to get to that item right up there. And to do that, you just have to activate this spinner over here. And if you can hear it, there's actually a timer. What you want to do is quickly come to this room over here. Go up here, get this lore over here, and activate this over here. But if it stops spinning, then you have to do it all over again. And with it spinning, it actually destroys that piece of rock over there, and it reveals a new dark portal. To access it, all you have to do is just do your boost ball stuff right over here, and it'll eventually drop you right on top of the fan. Then all you have to do is just go straight into the dark world, go into this crack of the wall over here, go through the morph ball tunnel over here, and you'll make your way back into the dueling ranges right over here. And you'll see this is the actual portal that we weren't able to get to last time, and that is because this is the only way to actually access this area. And with that, all you have to do is just go all the way back and you'll grab yourself the Dark Burst. With this, it actually creates a giant black hole using both missiles and your dark meter. I'll show it off in a bit because like I said, it actually looks really cool. Alright, and with that little detail all out of the way, we can make our way right back into the bogs. Alright, and if you come over here, back into this bridge room, you'll remember that there was this grapple beam hook in the middle of this morphle puzzle. Just grapple on and jump behind you, and you'll get yourself a brand new missile expansion. Then make your way back into the Forgotten Bridge right over here, and enter into the Dark World from here. You'll see this green door right over here, definitely go through it. And also make sure you scan this little life cycle over here, because if you just shoot it with the dark beam, it rotates up and it also provides you a nice little heating station. But it's also on a timer, so make sure you don't dilly-dally. Alright, and if you continue to path forward, you'll see our next dark key right over there. To get to it, you just have to grapple beam right above it, and you'll be able to swing yourself right over to it. And with that, that should be all the dark keys in this area. However, we're still not done here, because if you go into this little area over here, you'll notice it looks exactly like that one area that has that missile expansion right over there. And to get to it, you have to do is just get on top of these rocks over here. I don't know why I'm double bomb jumping here. I guess I just really wanted to practice when you could just jump on top of it. Anyway, it actually leads to the portal that's right over here, which leads you to the missile expansion. And that's literally the only purpose of that portal. Alright, then after that, make your way to the poisonous bogs right over here. You'll see a nice purple door right over here. If you blast it, it reveals to you a brand new beam expansion. Yep, so now we can carry 150 of each colored missiles. Or beams, I should say. Alright, and now that we collected all that stuff, we can now press on forward all the way back to the Dark Temple. And before you get off too over, if you make this little detour right over here, you can actually give yourself a nice ambo resupply. to give yourself max amounts of both missiles and the new beam. Once you get the resupply, just step onto the hologram right over there, and it'll lead you right next into a boss fight. Now, this is why I kind of stopped doing the whole scans, because there's so many little things you have to scan for each boss fight that sometimes it can be overwhelming. First thing you want to scan is the cocoon itself, because that's part of it. And when you scan it, it turns into this cyclic larva thingy. And with that dispersed, it starts pulling out these other creatures. You also have to scan those guys for some data. And the way to beat this guy is just to hit him in the head repeatedly. As well as this, that one underbelly that's clearly a weak point. But at least I get to show you what the black hole looks like. It looks like that. It looks pretty cool. Anyway, once you get rid of that, that's its first phase done. But then out comes the second portion of it, which is the actual segment, the adult version. Now this one is a bit more annoying, just because it took me a bit to figure out what the hell you're supposed to do. What you want to do is just quickly hit him until he's stunned. And when he's stunned, you see these giant red marks all over its wings. Now, what that means is they aren't just weak points that you're supposed to hit. They are weak points you're supposed to use your new missile guidance system and target all of them all at once. However, the stupid part is you have to literally go to where he's facing and then start scanning him in front of him in order for it to actually lock on. That is really, really annoying. And if you go into here with like very low missiles, I feel like you can get soft locked here. Anyway, just do that a couple more times, and then the next part of his phase is that he actually starts absorbing the poisonous swamp into a giant sack. Luckily, the sack just becomes a giant weak point for him, so it shouldn't be that bad. But yeah, once he absorbs the sack, that is a new entry you must do in. And then he starts expelling out these little minions as well, and those are also a new entry you must put in. Again, so many little things that you can literally miss. And you can't really place blame on that, just because, you know, how the hell were you supposed to know? But luckily, once you figure all that stuff down, he goes down pretty well. And he gives us a brand new item, visor, the Dark Visor. And with that, we can now see invisible platforms as well as the invisible creatures as well now. So now those dark pirates that just seem like they're just teleporting at random, you can handle those super easily now. These platforms are invisible, you can see them with ease now. And it does feel a little bit like a retrend of the X-ray visors from the very first game. But these ones kind of give them a whole new utility, which is kind of nice. Plus I kind of like the white and red aspect, opposed to the white and blue aspect in the first one. Anyway, you just come up here, and we get ourselves the temple's power here. Now with that, this leg of the temple is all over. So now all we have to do now is just head right back to the Great Temple to get us some more lore explanations, as well as figure out what to do next. But before you get too far, just head down the elevator real quick in the Dark World, and you'll see this green door over here. Just blast it open to get yourself a nice energy tank. You could do this right before the boss fight to give yourself a full heal, but I like doing it a little bit after as a nice reward for beating the boss fight. Alright, and after all that, make your way back into the Dark Forbidden Bridge area, go through that portal over there, and then start making your way back over into this area to deposit that energy that we just absorbed. And I will make a point of it right now. It seems like the background they use in a lot for that temple area, it really reminisces back in that background back in Smash Brawl, the one that kind of looks like the swamp area. I'll try to put it like a nice side by side, but it looks almost identical. Alright, and after returning the power, just head over in this direction over here, take the right way, and that, if you go to the right, you can actually make yourself a nice missile expansion. But then, in the very first area of the game, if you head down this side path over here, you'll see just a missile expansion just hanging out right over there, that you can get to with your now added water boost ability. Alright, and on your way to the Great Temple, you can actually make this detour over here to this kinetic energy over here. If you remember, we saw this a little bit ago. But this time, you can travel across there and go to a nice energy tank over here. Unfortunately, you can't get through the door over there just yet, but keep that in mind. But for right now, let's just make our way back to the Great Temple. And seeing after you scan that door over there, there's actually like a weird solid area over here, which kind of prevents you from going in it, so you kind of have to talk to this guy to tell you what he knows. And pretty much what he's telling you, this next area is a giant fortress of sorts. And they actually had machines to help defend them against it, but the Ing started using those machines against them. Very interesting stuff. But anyway, with that out of the way, we can start making our way towards that. But before you go there, remember that space station that had that blastable rock? Well, now we can go back over there, blast it, and give ourselves a nice missile expansion. Alright, and the way to go from here is that if you come over to this area over here, with your new dark vision, you can actually scan this door over here. You can see there's some weak points around the locks, and if you target them with your missile scan, you can actually blast them all to reveal the next location, and you make your way all the way back here to the GMC compound. Now this is important because there's actually quite a few things over here. One, there's this door over here that now we can unlock that leads us to the next area. We can also get this nice little lore bit right over here. Alright, anyway, that out of the way, you'll notice this giant beam of light. Well, that actually becomes super important later on. But for right now, let's just make our way to the facility. And you can see this area has a giant mechanism or machine-based systems all around, which contrasted to every other area in the game, makes it sharply different in a lot of areas. Because not only are there a lot more machine-type enemies and turrets around, but really cool robots, and as well, it's also cool to see how the Ing messes with those. Like, this really feels like the culmination of all this world's technology in one place. It's actually kind of cool. And immediately once we get into this bridge, we start getting under attack by some space pirates. And these ones are the special kinds of enemies, so feel free to go all out with these guys. Alright, you know, these areas over here that could be blasted by a new kind of bomb. Unfortunately, we can't access this area over here, but keep that in the back of your mind, because they will be important for 100% in the game. Alright, let's make our way forward, and we see some brand new enemy types as well. These weird robot-like creatures that go all the way around the wall. Really interesting, and then when you blast them, they just kind of disperse like bombs. Alright, and once you make it into this room, you'll see it feels like nothing is happening. But luckily for us, if we just switch into our dark visor, you'll see that there's some points we can attack here. And be sure to do that quite often. If you feel stuck, just switch to a different visor and secrets will be revealed. Thus revealing this new energy type that looks like it should be like a floating lore ball, but isn't. It's just like a really weird cryptic message thing. Then you come up here, we can see the very first of the machines that they invented to try to fight the Ing. This weird spider turret thing. And these guys are a little bit tricky to kill, because what you want to do right away is super missile the head off, and then once in its spider form, it'll eventually do a top attack. What you have to do is literally challenge it with your boost ball ability, stopping it, then its vulnerability spot will be revealed to you. Again, super weird that they decided to do it like that. It's not kind of intuitive, but hey, you do what you gotta do. And if you come into this main room over here, you'll see the full power of these guys. If they shoot you, with a weird attack, it can actually down your whole systems, forcing you to actually reboot your suit by doing LRB in order to reboot your suit systems, which is really cool if you think about it. And it gives you nice little things, some nice computer language stuff to think about. But before you get too far, if you head all the way back down and go to the right up here, there's a save station. Definitely use that before heading on up, because it's going to be a little bit of interesting stuff to do. Alright, yeah, after climbing all the way up, you'll eventually make yourself into this weird, like, dynamo circuitry system here. And this one's actually really weird to figure out. What you want to do is mainly go over here, and instead of going forward, head to the left and right over there. And what you want to do is try to find all these things in the right order, and you literally have to trial and error it. The first one you want to hit is this orange one, the next one is this blue one, and then it's red, and then it's green. That is the order you need to hit them in. And once that's down, you can freely move around this area all over again. Then we come into this giant main ran over here. Definitely get rid of these guys as soon as you can, and make sure you scan their head, because their head and their bodies are separate things. And make sure you get rid of them, because you will be coming in and out of this area quite a bit. And the less enemies in here, the better. You'll start seeing some weird obstacles within these cages over here. Unfortunately, we cannot do anything with them as of right now, so just leave it alone for right now. And then we enter this hallway over here. You know, a classic Metroid staple. We know this one's definitely gonna get blasted by a super bomb later on. Then we scan this portal over here to head into the Dark World. And like much of our Dark World stuff, our main goal right now is just trying to locate 3 keys to enter the temple. And the first place we want to go to is immediately come back out and go into this elevator over here to the right. Alright, and once you make it to this area and swing across, what you want to do is actually immediately turn around, because there's actually some hidden things you can actually shoot with your scanner, which actually reveals the light portal. I want you to take it in right away. Come over here to this guy over here to get some nice lore, and then immediately turn around and go through that dark door over there. You know you're going the right way when you see these purple repeated enemies, as well as these tripods over here from the last game as well. And you can even defeat these enemies the same way. Then you make it into this awesome generator looking room here, and you see this giant balls of everything going haywire. Right, what you want to do here is that there's actually a little morph ball slot hidden in the right corner over there. Make sure you start making your way through there, and then once you make it to the opposite side of that, you're faced with this puzzle over here. This one's actually one of my more fun puzzles I had in this game. What you want to do is rotate these puzzles so that all the colors match up, and it's actually quite simple actually. And you can see I did it in no time at all. And again, this game is actually keen on so much puzzles like this, and it's actually kind of awesome. Anyway, if you head to the right over there, there's a nice save station, so definitely save after completing the puzzle, because what that puzzle does is it stops one of those rings, so now you can travel across it. With that ring stopped, we can now make it to the opposite side of this weird little half circle thing. And you can take that elevator, and the elevator actually leads upwards to our next area. And here in this nice little boss room looking area over here, you'll face another one of these sentient turrets over here. And this is the main reason why you want to try to destroy the heads before destroying the bodies. Just because the heads can stay afloat, and if there's some neighboring little things, if there's some bodies just laying around for them to hack into, well, it'll just go right into them, forcing you to deal with another one of those things. Anyway, after going into that, you'll make your way into this room over here. Unfortunately, we can't get to the second shelf as of right now. And once you head on down, you'll see the Darklings trying to infest these bodies all over again. Literally the same strategy just applies to it, except they're just a little bit stronger. Once they're defeated, just platform your way up from the bottom up from here until you reach this door over here. Because beyond that door is the temple axis. So just go up it, come up here, get yourself some nice little tidbits about what's going on in this area. The only thing to note about in this one is that the guy who was protecting it seemed to be the strongest warrior of this whole race. And he even crumbled against the forces about all this stuff. And he tells you the whole backstory of how these devices came to be and how they got corrupted. Again, very interesting stuff. Like, they were smart enough to build all these things to try to protect themselves, but it got used up against them. You know, kind of similar to another Nintendo game that came out that did the same exact gimmick. Curious. Well, anyway, with that done, head over here. He'll give you a new language module for those nice white languages. And now that you're back here, there's actually some new enemies in this area. These guys are actually super annoying because they can only be killed by your scanner. Now, you don't have to face them right now, which is nice, but there's going to be a part where you gotta make sure you remember they can only be killed with the secret missiles. Anyway, after doing some epic platforming with this in this area over here, we make our way over here to this side of the Dynamo Works. Now, this is something I did find that's super important. Apparently, this thing that's running around the tubes is the boss, and this is the only time you're going to be able to scan it. Again, it's super missable. Luckily, I did get it on my very first try, but I did miss it. But like I said, there are some ones that are just so annoying to scan. Luckily, I'm not torturing myself with that one yet. If you want me to see me torture myself, let me know in the comments to see if you guys want me to do not only a hard playthrough of this game, but also do 100% of the scans as well. Anyway, this boss, not that hard. He's just always going to be on rails, and what you want to do is just morph bomb him whenever you can, and then go to a power outlet whenever you can, and that way you can try to bait them into hitting that generator. You do this for almost all the rooms, and it's the same process pretty much for all of them, except for the last one where it gets a little bit more tricky. But for right now in this room, this is where it's the trickiest, because you have to bait this thing to hit 3 different generators. And I think I screwed up a little bit, and even the game didn't know what to do, because it seemed like it wanted me to hit that generator first, but I accidentally hit the second one, so it zoomed in on the wrong one, which is kind of hilarious. But yeah, it's like a whole weird timing thing. You just gotta make sure you time everything correctly so you can lead this guy to all the different areas. And see, look, I hit that one next, and it zooms in on the one that's gone already. It seems like it really wanted me to hit the other one first. Alright, and the proper way to do it is... Alright, and this last one is just going to be the trickiest one. Pretty much what you want to do is make sure you hit him on when he's going to the right side over here, and quickly go to that one and lower down that one. But don't do it too fast, otherwise they'll both just end up going upwards, forcing you to do the whole process all over again. Again, this one's a little bit annoying just because of this stupid mechanic, but hey, what are you going to do? And you literally have to get to all 3 within the time limit too. Because even if you just become slightly behind on any of them, it ruins everything else, which is really dumb. And look at that, I managed to get all the way to the last hit. Literally 1 hit away from death. But with that, we get our next really big upgrade, which is the Spider Ball power-up. Nice! And now with this out of the way, we can head right back into the boss room, because we cannot make any progress as of right now, because we don't have the necessary upgrade. And you see those giant waves that were running around? Well, that's our track that we must go through. And now we can make it up to that missile expansion right over there, and actually exit out of this arena. But now we have the Spider Ball track, we can actually go over to, I believe, back into the bogs in order to try to get our next upgrade. But on the way, make sure you scan the Spider Ball tracks as well as this lore stuff. That way you don't have to do some nice backtracking. And you know what? Since we're here, let's actually do this puzzle here and now. You see these grate up here? What we want to do, the entrance starts right over here. What you want to do is just you do some nice morpho platforming all across this room in order to get your reward, which is another missile expansion. Again, that seems like a lot of work for a missile expansion. Definitely felt like it should have been an energy tank, but hey, who am I to judge? And if you want to know like a fast way to get back into this main central area as well, if you come over to this kinetic thing over here, you can actually get your spider track onto these balls over here. And you see these red things on it? Well, if you use a boost ball right on top of it, you can actually spring yourself all the way all over the place. It's actually super cool that they're able to utilize both the boost ball and the spider ball in this kind of fashion. Kind of makes me think, can I do this back in Metroid Prime 1? Makes me really want to see if I can now. But anyway, after that, come over here and do a nice little save over here, because you just got yourself a nice energy tank. And then if you lower this door right over here, with our new language system, we can actually get a map of this place, making it so much easier to traverse as well. And see that giant ray of light there? Again, keep that in mind. It's going to be important later on. And with that, now we can make our way back into the front entrance, where we see a very familiar face. Yep, as you can see, Dark Samus not only revived herself, but is still powerful enough to actually destroy this huge bridge here. Now, how do we get out of here now? Well, luckily for us, now with our new Spider Ball traction, we can actually now go onto this rail over here and do some awesome boost ball things in order to traverse this whole area now. Now with that, we can now start making our way heading back into the bogs. Once in the bogs, our goal right now is actually to make ourselves all the way back to the temple access over there and make sure we get down to the hydro station down below. Once you're in the hydro station, drop down all the way down below, because now with our spider ball, we can actually access a brand new area that's located deep below here. And if you're wondering why I'm doing all this, well, luckily this little screenshot will tell you. There's a missing gear still located around here, and it's actually located in the Dark World. So come all the way down here, spider ball track up to this portal over here. you'll find yourself in this area right over here. And here we'll face ourselves with another boss fight. This guy is the power bomb generator. Now this one is actually one of the harder bosses because this whole thing fixates on you spider bombing around here while getting shot by power bombs. And there's only one entrance to this whole thing, so make sure you grab it. And it's actually recommended that you go left wise first. And what you want to do is try to use as much as your morph ball ability in order to try to transfer all the tracks to make it to each one of those generators over here. And every time you do, it actually takes down a fourth of his health bar. So all you have to do that is just do it 4 times, and you should be good to go. Again, props to them for thinking of like really cool and creative ways to use every single one of Samus's abilities in a boss fight. This one actually feels like the best example of like a cool morph ball boss fight, especially with how fast he gets when he's mad. The only negative of it is that every time you get hit, it actually knocks you down. But again, that's part of the challenge. And I guess it can get a little bit slow when you have to rely on power ball jumps in order to transfer some areas. But again, I still like it a lot. Anyway, with his defeat, you can platform your way back over here to this top area over here to get for yourself the power bomb upgrade. Now in this game, I believe it only starts you off with 2 power bombs, and there's a grand total of 10 of them that you can collect for your max suit upgrades. And you immediately have to use the 2 literally just to get out of here. But luckily, you can just kill random enemies for that ammo, so make sure you start killing lots of stuff for it. Anyway, with our new upgrade in hand, we can now go through yellow doors over here, which means we can head straight right back into this fortress to go through all those yellow doors that we couldn't get through. But if you actually want to get some more items on your way over here first, there's actually something we can do. If you head to the crypt over here and activate that portal, remember that room that had like a giant glass in the floor? Well, now you can break it. But make sure you actually have 2 power bombs for this one. Again, you can just kill random enemies for it. For me personally, I like going into the dark world, killing these sacks, and hopefully the sacks will have one. But once you get 2, it actually drains the pool over here, allowing this half-pipe section to be released, and the spider tracks that are now above us to be accessible. And what you want to do for this part is go on both sides of the half-pipe. You'll see there's a bomb slot for each of them. Do both of them, and it'll reveal you a path over to the missile expansion that's over here. Also, remember that yellow door that was right next to that energy tank that we couldn't get to? Well, now that we have the power bombs, we can activate over here. Come over here to give us a giant puzzle that takes place both in the light and dark world. Now, this one is kind of my least favorite one, just because it requires you to do too many arbitrary things. What you want to do is go into the dark world, kill any enemies there, and you'll see that these platforms get highlighted in both yellow and blue. What you want to do is highlight one of them with all of them yellow, deactivate that, activate them all in blue, that way you can release a seal on this thing. Again, kind of arbitrary that they requires you to do this twice. It's kind of annoying actually. But through all that trials and tribulations, you do get a pretty nice reward. And the reward this time is the Sunburst, which is the charge shot variant of the Sunbird. Now it does require a lot of sun energy, so I can't show it off right here since I am kind of low right now. But believe me, it is one of the best attacks in the game, so be sure to use it as much as you can, especially for bosses. And now let's just head right back into the fortress area over there. And same method, even though the bridge is gone now, we could still use the spider ball track to transverse it again. But on your way back, now with the power ball expansion, you can see that these giant robots that were immobilized at first are now gaining sentience now. And these guys actually take up a lot of energy time. So it's best just to deal with this one and then ignore all the others. Or these two, I should say, because it seems like both of them want to reactivate now. Now, what you want to do now is make your way back into this area over here. And you remember where we saw those guardians before as well in this giant maze room? Well, now they'll all be reactivated. So what I like to do is go through this back way over here and quickly make your way over to this spider track that's listed over here and go through this door over here. Just be careful because these guys' shockwaves can go through walls and can still hurt you. And after that, once you come up here, you'll loop around back into this area where we fought the boss, or the indie place where we fought the boss, and make your way back to the temple area over there. Also, just to make sure you don't have to backtrack like I did, go into the spinner up here and it actually lowers this door over here so you don't have to do all that nonsense again. But now that we have power bombs, come over to this pile of garbage, power bomb it, and it actually reveals another puzzle. Get it through it pretty fast, and it actually allows you to actually stop this spinner right over here. Now, what this does, it actually took me a while to figure out. There's actually a spider ball track hidden on that gyro that you can use to ride all the way up. My dumbass thought you could just like try to climb it or such, but no, there's actually a spider ball track there. I also recommend saving in the nearby room as well, because upcoming next is a boss fight that you want to be prepared for. Again, it also really doesn't help that the spider ball track is only accessible by one side of the actual circle. Kinda really stupid. Anyway, once we come over here, we actually see Dark Samus again. But this time, it seems like she's trying to absorb Phazon for some crates, as well as destroying some pirates. It really just gives us a sense that Dark Samus is not on the side of space pirates, but instead is doing its own thing, and the Phazon is somehow connected to it. What could this mean? Well, only time could tell. Anyway, just continue rushing her down. You see Dark Samus again is trying to absorb some more Phazon. And this time, we had to do another boss fight with her, but this time we're in an elevator shaft going downwards. Same method applies as last time as dealing with her, but only this time, once we get to our second phase, she actually starts going into Beast Ball mode. Now this mode is actually pretty tricky to deal with, but try to avoid it as much as you can until she comes to a full stop. But then she also starts going into Invisa mode, but luckily we have the Dark Visor to see her once she's like that. And that's like one of her only most vulnerable phases too, so make sure you get tons of shots in when in the Dark Visor. But after a bit, we actually defeat Dark Samus. She blasts a hole in this area, then she just falls right through it. Even though we see her kind of disintegrate into blue Phazon, I doubt it's the last time we'll see her, considering we're only 50% of the scans on Dark Samus. But anyway, with that door now open, it actually leads us to a dark portal that's hidden on the outside of this little area. Go right through it, and you'll see yourself a nice spider ball track puzzle over here. Now this one was actually kind of dumb because perspective made me think like I'm just missing it or I'm just slightly off. But in actuality, there's a little spinner in the front of the room that you have to actually rotate first in order to get the right angle to actually shoot yourself up to this portal. But once you make it through that portal over there, you see yourself a brand new visor for us. It is the Echo Visor. Now this one is like super weird in terms, but what this one does, it actually detects sound waves and devices emitting those sound waves to keep certain things in place. And mainly, I think it's just detecting the signals that some things are protruding out, and it also tells you its target that it's sending out. So as you see here, there's some blocks all around the room, and we need to find 3 things to disable them. Luckily, it does give you a nice big orange signal in the middle of all that black and white, so it's kind of obvious what it is. But at the same time, it's kind of a boring visor, to be honest. It just turns everything into a weird black and white thing, and if it makes a sound, it gives it like a nice white pulse. Kind of cool if you're into that whole sonar thing, but in my eyes, it's just kind of lame a bit. But it does give you, and even the puzzles that it gives it is kind of meh as well. But I'll get to that part when I get to that part. For now, let's just head back into this direction over here. What you're going to do is head into this dark world right over here. Head in this direction, backtrack to this elevator right over here. and you'll make yourself into the culting chamber over here. And here is also, shall we say, a morph ball puzzle as well. But defeat all these enemies so you don't have to deal with them later. And make sure you have enough HP in order to do the puzzle so you don't waste any time. Again, it's kind of hard to find the entrance of it, but luckily the entrance is literally just right up against this wall. Again, it doesn't help that the whole room is like black and red, and the morph ball track you need to find is black and red. Again, it really doesn't help. And with that done, you can make your way back into the light world. And what you want to do now is actually backtrack your way back to the reactor's core of this whole place, because there's actually a yellow door that we need to burst right open. And as soon as you walk through, you can scan through this little panel. You'll see there's actually a power bomb expansion that we need. Now this one is one of the most annoying items to get, because you have to do a sequence of stupid puzzles in order to get it. First thing you want to do is blast this with a power bomb. Scan the dark creature over here, because this is like a one of its kind over here. But you don't have to defeat it. All you have to do is just literally go around it, go through this portal over here, enter this morph ball slide over here to go back into the dark world, and after dealing with that nonsense over there, go back into the light world, go through the spider ball track to eventually get the power bomb expansion. Again, it was just a lot of needless back and forth for kind of no reason at all. But anyway, once you get that, head to the opposite side of that whole room over there. You'll eventually end up in this weird machinery place where lots of things are like going on and off. And what you want to do is quickly make work of those androids over there. And definitely scan this thing, because this thing is a little mini boss that we have to protrude later, and we won't be able to scan it later on. So make sure you scan it right now before you get into it. And once you do that, what you want to do is actually start doing this morph ball track against this wall with the pillars. Do that little quest over there, it grants you a nice missile expansion. After that, turn on your echo waves to locate all those echo things. Lower down the door, and you make your way back into the dark world in this area. Now be wary, because there are some hunter inks right as you enter this place, so make sure you're prepared for that. And once they're defeated, you put on your echo visor again, and you'll start seeing some more of those echo waves to lower down this door. And what that does is actually lifts down this platform right over here. So now we can get underneath this whole thing, go through the portal there, and we're actually inside that little mini boss I was telling you about earlier. And how to activate them is literally boost your ball with your way up, and you get yourself a nice little evasion tactics here. Now the way to deal damage in this boss is to avoid all his tentacle things, and when you see a little red booper come out, charge up your boost ball, and just quickly, when you go to the other side, make sure you're in the line of sight for it. Now it can be a bit tricky what with perspective and this being a 3D environment, but it's nothing you can't handle. But luckily once that's all done, it actually lets you deliver all the way up here to the opposite side over here. You go through here, it actually grants you into this morph ball tunnel right over here. And as you can see, there was actually like a nice missile expansion in there. Keep that in mind, because we will be coming back to it later. And we come into this giant area over here. Make sure you get rid of these annoying little fuckers, so that way it won't bother you. And then you'll start seeing not only this lore piece over here, but you'll also start seeing a whole bunch of spider tracks all over the place. Now the only ones that we can get to right now are the ones on that far side right over there. And even though it looks like a bit of a jump, don't worry, you can make it. Alright, and once you get on the spider ball track puzzle over here, you gotta be ready for a number of things. One, when you get shot out of the cannon, make sure you're holding R, that way you can stick to the power ball tracks right underneath you. Two, when you're on the rail spider tracks, make sure you give yourself enough time to power ball jump up to the next one over there. A good little indicator to help you out is that you'll see these red bars right here. If you power ball jump a little bit before or right on them, you should be able to make it to the next area with no problem. Alright, and also another thing you want to keep in mind, make sure you don't go fully, once you're at the very top, make sure you don't go fully right, because there's actually something hidden in the background you need to get if you go to the left side over here. I did that my first time, and it was super annoying when I had to do this all over again, because inside is actually a beam ammo expansion, giving you another 50 ammo for each light and dark. So right now we should have access to 200 of them. Alright, and now with that out of the way, we have to do this thing again, but this time drop over to the right side of that free roam area, which allows us access into the over there. Once in the dark world, you can actually see the dark key off in the distance over there. That is one of our goals right now. Deal with all these pirates first, that way you don't have to deal with them later. And head over to the right side over there to try to make your way over to the key over there. And what you want to do is just, I know it seems like you'll want to grapple your way down there and try to double jump your way. Just don't. Just go on top. There's a little platform to the left side over there, and then it'll just drop you down over there. And once you make it back over here, you can double jump your way up here. You'll find yourself something giant, and it's encasing something. What is it is encasing? Well, it's none other than our next main power-up, the screw attack. Yep, somehow this game actually implemented the screw attack, one of Samus's best items ever. How does it work? Well, first things first, we gotta lower down this thing over here to get into the dark realm. Once in the dark realm, you'll find yourself here. And before you actually start swinging all the way around, there are these darklings here, of the dark wasps. Make sure you scan them, because this is like one of the only times you can actually find them. And you'll see there's another portal over there back into the light. Yep, we're gonna do a whole bunch of Dark World shenanigans all over again. Once you make it to over here, you'll start seeing a lot of these platforms over here. What you want to do is start parkouring your way through them to each of these bomb slots over here to try to lower down the gates. Unfortunately, this is where the platform here becomes a bit tricky, because on each of these platforms is one of these very annoying little guys. It's super easy just to blast them away with dark energy. Forgot to mention that. And these jumps are actually so clinically precise to a point that it gets super annoying. It's super easy to mess up. Literally, I had so much difficulty on one of these jumps. It's unbelievable. And what's the worst is that they're actually unmoving. So all that trouble was just placed upon myself because I was trying to be too careful. Luckily, if you just fall down into the pit below, it doesn't kill you automatically, which is super nice. It just respawns you to your last known flooring. Anyway, with that's done, you had to go back into the dark portal, swing yourself all the way back to that portal over there, so you can reactivate that little visor thing right underneath the screw attack, and thus releasing the locks on it. But now we have access to Samus's best attack as well as movement option in this game, the screw attack. And it kind of functions exactly like how it did when you have the space jump and the screw attack in back in Super Metroid. To where every time you're about to lower a little bit, just press B and you do a nice additional jump. It is a bit nerfed in this game because you can only do it a maximum of 5 times in a row before it forces you to drop off. But it is still super useful to get across huge amounts of gaps and get to new areas unknown. Again, super nice, super useful. It can also be used as an attack as well, just like in other Metroid games. Although it doesn't really have that much utility as in other games. But oh well. But now with that, we can actually climb over to this door over here. And as you can see, we can actually make our way into this little area over here to try to do this morph ball tunnel puzzle over here. Luckily, if you just go left and right, it actually drops you right on top of the missile expansion. Again, this is one thing I thought it was super dumb, because the guide I was using, the IGN one, does not mention that missile expansion whatsoever in the middle of it. I don't know if they just forgot about it or it just wasn't on the priority, but I literally found that out by myself because I noticed it just wanted me to get to this area, and I saw like a faster path through this area, and I just so happened to stumble upon the missile expansion. Again, kind of cool. I still got myself a sense of discovery, but it's still super annoying that that's how it happened. Anyway, just come over here into this area to get back into the dark world over here. And what you want to do is platform your way up here to stage in area 1. And now with our new screw attack, you can actually interact with these platforms over here and start doing some awesome wall jumps with it. Now, this is where I find something super interesting, because technically Samus cannot wall jump in this game, and she literally isn't able to wall jump throughout pretty much her entire series except for like 4 games. So I can also see why this game could be placed earlier in the timelines, because Samus Aran doesn't know how to wall jump by herself. Instead, she actually needs a tool, the screw attack, in order to wall jump, as well as these specific surfaces as well. Alright, and what you want to do now is actually come back over here into this dark world specifically. And now that we have all this stuff now, we can actually start interacting with this dynamo right over here. And what you want to do is just literally just come up to here, and once you start interacting with this thing, you'll notice some dark tentacles start spawning right out of it. Be careful, because what you want to do is literally just go right above it to this spider ball track over here, and boost all your way up to find yourself the last of the dark keys hidden right above here. Now, you can destroy these tentacles pretty easily with just a morph ball bomb, but again, unnecessary. Alright, and if you come over here to this area over here, to where we found Dark Samus absorbing all that energy, we can actually make our way into that room over there that's sealed off, and what lies inside it is our very last nice ammo resupply station. That way, we can go into our next area fully locked and loaded, with 200 light, 200 dark energies, and 120 missiles. And if you come over here, we can just do a nice quick save after all that, because well, next is another fight. Now, where you want to go for this next fight, so they travel all around these this bomb over here, and you'll see that there's a nice big platform right over here. If you just transfer it up, it actually leads you right over to the temple area where we need to get into. Now, all you have to do is, like, there's just one room in between you and there that gives you a nice little save station to fully restock on both missiles and health. And trust me, you're going to need as much as you want. And you start seeing this giant robotic spider just right there. And once you approach it, it actually turns dark. And this is the next boss you have to fight, Quadratus. Now, this guy is, as I saw, is the king of all the scanning bosses, because there's actually 4 things you need to scan in this fight to 100% the scan logs, which is kind of stupid. First is his initial scan, which is super obvious. And to actually get him to his next phase, you start seeing that his joints start glowing at randomly, and emphasis on randomly. Trust me, because I have no idea how you can get them to activate and such. I know you can hit these little things over here, but I'm not sure if that actually activates his legs or not. But yeah, once they start glowing, just use a super missile and try to knock it out of the way. And once that's all done, you'll make it to the next phase. Yeah, again, I have no idea what the hitting those red balls underneath the feet does. The only thing I can see it does is it actually just gives you more health and more missiles for the next upcoming phases. But yeah, once that's all done, you can actually see his head fly right off his body, scan the head and the body for 2 separate scans. And this is where our Echo Visor actually comes into play, because we can see that the antenna that he left behind is actually sending him a nice impervious shield. So what you want to do is just blast that antenna. His shields will actually get lowered. There's actually a few points on them that we have to locate with our Echo Visors to actually do some more damage to him. But in the middle of all that, these stupid dark guys will start showing up, interfering with all that strategy. So just deal with them, go back to the antenna, and rinse and repeat until the end. But like I said, with these dark ones, make sure you kill the bodies on these guys first so you can scan the heads, because scanning the heads that are dark also counts as an individual thing. There's actually a limited supply of those guys, so make sure you get that to there too. And once that little phase is done, we'll move on to the final phase, where once again you just gotta scan the head again. This time you'll see he has a nice new sheet on him that looks very reminiscent of the stuff we've been riding on in our Spider-Ball track. So what you want to do is just shoot him until he gets dizzy. And this is the stupidest part. The way to get up there is actually going through the main body that's dead on the ground. There's some spider tracks on that. Wait for him to pass by you, so you can boost ball your way all the way up there. Now this is only annoying because he actually moves so slow that if you miss an opportunity, odds are he'll just recover before you can get to the next one. Again, really dumb. But once you get top of his body, there's actually 2 points you need to go up to. You gotta go up to this point over here and actually morph ball his joints right up there. Again, an actually pretty cool and clever way to actually infiltrate the morph ball bomb attacks into boss battle. But once that's all done, we can finally get our very last upgrade, the Annihilator Beam. Now what this beam does it actually does a charge shot of both the light and dark energies, as you can see from some of the doors we weren't able to get into, but it also requires both the light and dark ammunition, making it one of the more powerful but also the most wasteful of all the things. But if you know how to get some more energy within this game, it doesn't become a problem at all. Now, with that out of the way, a platform rises up. We can make our way to the Annihilator beam door over there. Make your way through here. Just be careful, because there's actually some inged swarms around here. And what these guys do is they give you so much additional damage when you're over here. It's like super unreal, and there's nothing you can do about it, actually. The best thing you can do about it is just turn into a little morph ball and get out of there. But before I forget, actually, we actually have to travel through this door over here because I forgot to grab the energy. So let's quickly do that, then go through that swarm. You know, with all this Metroiding around, I kind of forgot this was the main objective of the game, was literally to get this energy. Again, that's what makes this Metroid feel so mid, is that it kind of forces you on a little bit on a path instead of like true exploration like other Metroids. I don't know, it kind of makes it feel more obligatory than anything else, which is kind of lame. But once that energy is gathered, we can make our way back into the world of light. And also make sure you use your Annihilator beams on these crystals and these little spark balls, because it actually gives you a brand new scans for both those things. Luckily it doesn't apply for the portals, which is fine, but both those little shells and the crystals, make sure you scan those with the Annihilator beam hitting it. Because not only does it provide you with some interesting lore, it actually provides you with the best way to deal with ing in that area now. I'll show you what I mean in a bit. The first things you want to do, once you come back over here, do your nice little awesome jumps over into this area over here. And these are the very annoying fuckers that I told you about. And the way to beat these guys is to take out your scanner, scan both of their legs, and make sure you hit them both. And as you see, I'm kind of wasting a bit of missiles, which is super annoying. Oh, you know what else is annoying? This puzzle over here. Because what this puzzle does is it actually emits a sound frequency code against these three notes over here and those locks. But the only way to actually activate them is with your Annihilator beam. So if you don't have the energy for it, you're kind of screwed on these puzzles. And it actually takes a bit of time to figure out too, because you not only have to know each of these tones of each key, but you also have to figure out the frequency. Again, super annoying. Because as you can see, I'm kind of like stuck between a rock and a hard place, because I didn't want to waste Annihilator beams, but I guess I literally had to. Luckily, it does show you a physical indication where if you got the notes right in the right sequence, which is really nice. But once you do that, it actually reveals a nice missile expansion. And it actually creates a nice little fast travel back to the temple area, where we can deposit the energy, and the greatest warrior of the Ings can thank us, and we can make our way back into the main Elder over there. But on the way over there, we can make our way back into this room over here. If you put on your Echo Visor, you can actually see there's some hidden things hidden here. If you hit it, it actually activates this little slot over here that launches you up here. And with that, it actually reveals a nice missile expansion underneath the floor. And if you drop all the way down here to where those giant circle things and that Metroid thing over there is, there's another Annihilator beam puzzle right over here. And like I said, luckily, you just have to press the sequence over there, which is that one, that one, that one, that one. It reveals a nice morph tunnel, which actually reveals another power bomb expansion. Nice. So it's kind of cool, like the inside that whole rotating energy device was just a power bomb expansion waiting for you inside. Again, it's hidden in plain sight. That's kind of cool. And literally, this next part only happened just because I was very curious on what that empty space over there was. Because now that we literally have everything, it really feels like we shouldn't have any empty spaces on the map whatsoever. So literally all this next stuff is like literally just curiosity, to where I travel all the way back to the boss room of this area, and go all the way through the very last tunnel to where there's a power bomb expansion, or a bomb door I should say. It actually leads you to this room over here. And after traveling right off the edge, because I wasn't prepared for it, you can actually make your way all the way across by this spider ball track that's up against the wall, boosting yourself off all those things to make it into this area. Now I was very confused at why there was nothing here, but it definitely feels like something should be here. when I put on the dark visor, I saw this thing, shot it once, saw it was like a really weird creature, and then when I hit it, it actually revealed a Sky Temple key. Now, I'm actually super glad I found this out of order, just because it really affirms why I love Metroid so much. Just going to random places, seeing something really cool, and actually making it part of the story. Later on. Again, because at this point we actually have no idea what these are for, but if we make our way all the way back to the Great Temple, he actually tells us. And if you've been going a little bit, we can actually make our way to our secret entrance back into the Agon Waste over here. And you want to go this way because there's actually a missile expansion hidden right off the intersection from that fortress to this area. And where it is just up against this spider track right over here. After some boost spider track tricks over here, we make our way to this missile expansion right over here in the same boss room where we fought the very first time we fought Dark Samus. And there's actually a couple of new things in this area now that happened while we were gone. But first things first, there's actually one more missile expansion located here. If you go on the half pipes right over here, you'll find yourself into this morph ball tunnel right over here. And you'll find yourself a secret control room that's where if you activate the bomb slot there, it actually dissipates the sand that's in here to reveal the missile expansion that's here. Pretty cool. And if you continue moving on into this room over here and make your way back into the dark world, remember that giant brick wall that we couldn't do anything about? Well, just quickly refill all our ammo stuff, get a giant power bomb it, figure out what's on the other side there. And it looks like a whole bunch of those poisonous small swarm things. And I don't want to be taking so much damage of it. And I don't see an invisible thing here yet, so let's come back to this place then, a bit later. Anyway, if you make your way over to this room over here, to where you'll see a giant deposit of Phazon stuff. And not only that, you'll see some Metroids actually starting getting developed in this dark world, in this style over here. Seems like the Space Pirates experiments on this place is starting to become a bit of success, because these Metroids are so impervious to damage that the only way to kill them is by giving them a giant burst of dark energy. And with that, it solidifies them, causing them to be susceptible to a missile attack. But once all those guys are defeated, you can make your way over here to this Annihilator door over here, and within it actually gives us our very final upgrade for our stuff, the Sonic Boom. Now this is the most powerful attack in the game. It requires both Charge Up and Annihilator Beam, and it actually kills a really cool barrier dimensional shockwave kind of thing. It actually looks super sick when used. Can't wait to show it off. But with that upgrade out of the way, we can make our way back into the light world, go back to that main room where we saw all those Metroids in the very beginning of the game, and we can see they kind of started infesting the whole area. And literally they have a nice big Metroid sack here too that spawns baby Metroids as well. You gotta scan both the sack and the baby Metroids for some more creature entries for the logbook. And after that, you come back into this room over here. As you probably figure out, we're pretty much just like in the free roam now, to where we can explore all the different places and all the other places with all our full upgrades to get all the missile expansions and everything else we need. Because as of right now, there's nothing really much else to talk about. And instead of just showing you where all the stuff is, I'm just going to show you the guide that I used to find all the stuff, because the Metroid fanbase actually made a really good guide for this. That's a lot better than IGN's for it. So I'll post a link for that one down below, because that one's actually pretty good. But I will show you where some of the more important things are, especially some health upgrade ones. Because if you just come over into this area, scan these echo things over here, you can reveal a nice energy tank that's hidden right over there. But yeah, with that all the way, we make our way back to the Great Temple, and he tells us about the 7 great keys, and we literally got one of them already. And not only that, he actually provides us with a brand new suit, the light suit. And once we have the light suit, it actually allows us to actually take no damage in the dark world, so we can freely explore that to our heart's content. So now, right now it's literally just free mode. Literally go through all the areas, locate all those 7 keys. If you want hints, there's actually one area I'll show you to, this area over here, to where you bring all the keys into, and each of them does have some lore significance for the scanner book, so make sure you scan those before anything else as well. But yeah, once that's all done, you should, at the very end of your exploring and all that, you should have a grand total of 255 missiles, literally 5 more than last time, and 10 power bombs, as well as 250 power beams, 250 beams for each of those things, as well as 14 missile expansions. Not missile, 14 energy tanks. Once that's all completed, you should be able to head up to the final boss and deal with that. Also, another reason why I'm not showing you all the collectibles is because literally on my recording it's screwed up, so all my collecting of the collectibles kind of got haywired. Sorry about that, but I really didn't want to replay this game again because I have literally had to get through Metroid Prime 3 next, and I needed space soon. So, like I said, I'll just show you right to the final boss. You'll see like this whole place is turned upside down, and there's a nice little save point here, so you can save right before the boss. And all you do is just traverse this little hallway over here, make it all the way to this giant ball of energy here, and as soon as you try to approach it, all the tentacles that we see that were like sealing the hallways and stuff, this is the origins of all of them. Now, what you want to do is first things off is always scan this guy, because I believe this guy has a couple of things we need to scan as well. So once you scan him, he'll tell you the weak point is his tentacles as of right now. All you gotta do is just blast all the tentacles, but make sure you like blast them evenly, because if you're down to one of them, it becomes super hard to hit it. Alright, and once that's all done, it reveals its weakness, that giant eye. That eye actually needs to get scanned as well, so make sure you scan that as well. And it actually has 2 protective barriers on the sides of it. What you want to do is quickly sidestep until you are in the middle of that, and I like using the Annihilator awesome charge beam shot to do heavy damage to it. Do that a couple of times and you'll reveal to his next phase, which was the most annoying phase to figure out. In this phase, he actually turns into a weird cocoon area. Now, I literally had no idea what to do in this phase, so I literally just turned on my Echo Vision. I started seeing these black spots appearing all around, so I just started shooting them at random. Because it did say in its scan entry that there are 11 weak spots. I thought these were the weak spots, so I just spent my entire time just circling them and just getting health and some energy tanks, and missiles I should say, which is really nice for the upcoming third phase, which is hefty. So definitely do this if you're running low and stuff, and make sure you have plenty of dark and light energy for it. But yeah, literally what you're supposed to do is literally go into Morph Ball Foam and actually use your spider bolt track to go up here. Now, I say the most annoying because I actually literally tried doing that a little bit ago, but I guess it just wasn't the right area to grab on, because I literally did this for a really long time. Anyway, just go into spider bolt form, you actually start seeing tentacles spawn right out of him, which is normal. What you want to do is actually destroy each and every one of those tentacles with a power Morph Ball Bomb. And once you do, it actually reveals the next phase. And this next phase is his last. Scan this one for one more time, and this should be all the times you need to scan him. So you just need to scan him 4 separate times pretty much. And you'll see he has a giant weird glowing weak spot in the midst of his heart. But once he's blasted a couple of times, it actually turns into a different color, forcing you to actually use your light or dark attacks on it. The polar opposite of what it is currently. But if it's red, just use your regular power bombs, your power shots, and super missiles in order for it to change colors. And as you can see, it's actually white as of right now. You just start lobbing dark shots into it. I wouldn't recommend the black hole for it, just because he keeps moving a lot. And same thing with the sunburst supercharge. He just moves way too much for it to actually be useful, which is super annoying because it feels like the missile variants of these charge shots literally have no purpose throughout this whole game. But anyway, you can deal with that a whole bunch of times. He'll eventually just go down. He does eventually spawn in these little guys over here. Don't think they necessarily need to be scannable because they are a repeated enemy throughout the whole Darklands. But if you haven't scanned them, just scan them. They actually provide you with some nice health, missiles, and if you shoot them with one of the blasters, it actually gives you the opposite energy, so make sure you make great use of that when they show up. And with that, he explodes into giant mount things, and he turns the giant ball of darkness into a giant ball of light, which we absorb into our suit, which then causes this whole area to start collapsing, giving us our classic Metroid escape sequence. Now this one might seem like it's the easiest of the bunch considering the exit is literally just around the corner, but then they pull you with a double twist. Now we're in the middle of a timed boss battle now. And who is the boss? It's none other than our rival, Dark Samus. With a whole bunch of added phazon in this area now, Dark Samus gives us our last stand, where we see the exoskeleton of it, and it's pretty horrific to be honest. And there's actually two things you need to scan from her. One, you need to scan the initial version of her in skeletal form, and then when she starts glowing in a Super Ball form, I scanned that too, because that also gives you some, not only a nice hint, but also the final research that we should be having this whole game. Like I said, I didn't do one thing right, so now the whole thing got screwed over. But hey, that's them to works. Luckily it's not lore related, so I can handle with that. But yeah, the way to defeat her in this phase is when she does like a phazon attack into little chunklets. What you want to do is use your charge shot to absorb those chunklets into your arm and shoot it right back at her, which forces her to get out of that form right away, and then you can just do everything regular again. And making sure you get those chunklets into your power beam is the fastest way to do it, because that deals the most amount of damage. But once her health bar goes down, she literally tries to stride up to us, but before she can reach us, she just fades into nothing. And it does give us a soft confirm that this thing is the same thing as Metroid Prime 1, because as we saw, as it tried to reach out to us with its hand, we saw the same hand that had the eye right in the middle of it. That's the only creature that ever has that feature on it, so we know it's the same. But anyway, after that, the Ing tried to surround us and try to capture us, but luckily we were able to scan the portal really fast and make our way out of it. And with that, we return back out of there. The survivors all come around to thank us. We lose our light suit, unfortunately, but as we approach our ship, we revert back to our Zero Suit form, revealing pretty much another skin that was in Smash Brothers, a nice dark blue variant of the Zero Suit Samus skin. And with that, credit rolls. And that's how Metroid Prime 2 ends. Again, pretty good game all around. Definitely a little bit worse than the first one. Kind of felt like they did want to tell a good story here, but I felt like not enough of it was portrayed to the actual game itself. Maybe the lore behind that I find here will uncover a lot more, but that's yet to be seen. That's Metroid Prime 2, and with 100% of items, we now get our cool little cutscene. And what does this cutscene reveal? Well, it shows us our familiar face being revived in space with the nice blue particles all around. Seems like a tale of Dark Samus and a tale of Phazon is yet to be ended. Alrighty, now it's time to get into the lore of this game. Now this lore is a little bit more difficult to explain away, just because when you go into it, there's 3 different sections of it and doesn't give you a complete let's shall we say timeline or events that tells you it. So let's just pray for the best. Let's start over here with Trooper lore, since this is our original mission, and let's focus on Force 1 over here. And let's see here, which one should we start with? You know what, let's start with Captain A Exert, and hopefully we can just go around and hopefully I won't skip any. Alright, let's get started. I'm beginning to think it was a real bad idea going down there. Reeves is right. That hive is just one of many. It's stupid to stir a hornet's nest, especially if you plan on sleeping under it. PFC S. Milligan. Brodna lost the bet, so he switched watch duty with me. I figured this section is nice and safe and boring, which suits me just fine. Let those other pugs guards that hot zone. Hold on, hey, hold, hey, no, ah! Transmission ends. PFC 1 Cranny. Last night at Chow, Seth starts talking about some bounty hunter and how she blew up a planet full of space pirates. I told her I didn't believe in fairy tales like that, and she took it personal. I just find it hard to believe that one person took out an entire space pirate base, that's all. But if she wants to believe in the Samus or Bigfoot or Santa Claus, she can. Interesting, so Bigfoot and Santa Claus could also be real in this world. Very interesting. LCPL J Broad. Man, I hope that is the only breeding ground for these things. If there's more, we're in a big trouble. We had a hard enough time talking that one out of commission. I almost ran out of ammo. I never run out of ammo. SPF triplets. The Sarge says those splinters remind him of some killer bug he saw on another planet once. All I know is the things are fast and take a lot to drop. Pretty soon we'll have to go to bayonets. Everyone's low on ammo, even Broad, and he's the stingiest grunt I know. Finally, PFCG Haley. I hear them everywhere. They're coming. Can't sleep. Ever. They'll eat me. Eat! Thus ends the Force One's logbooks. Seems like there's a lot of paranoia and skepticism going on in this one. Seems like they really didn't want to pursue, especially since they knew they're in hostile territory. But yeah, no choice but to go in. Interesting. Alright, let's move on to Force 2. And yeah, that's a good thing that if you already read it, it just turns blue, so. Alright, let's start over here now. Let's go with PSM Varani. I think Haley's losing it. He talks to himself all the time, and he won't sleep. He almost shot me on watch the other night. I think he thought I was one of those things. I talked to the doc about taking him off the line, and he told me we need all the help we can get. That's true, but if he does go berserk and kills a bunch of us, that won't be very helpful. GSGTC Bennett. There's something wrong with the lock systems in this section. They failed twice, locking us out until someone came along to let us in. If it happens again while we're playing bait for those things, well, at least we'll go out fighting, instead of hiding in the control area. PFCL Broda. We'll be making our stand here. The engineer tells me there's no way we'll get the ship's engines online, and atmospheric interference is scrambling our distress beacon. If anyone reads this, know that we did our duty and fought well. SPCB Reeves. I don't like this plan. This hive is a small portion of a larger network. There may be dozens of hive systems like this across the planet, and they may all be linked. Destroying this one may buy us time, but it may also provoke the other hives into attacking. PFCE Denny's. I'm the only one left. Managed to get out of the hive, but when I got to the ship, everyone was gone. Dead. I'm heading for that alien building we saw earlier. Maybe someone can help me there. Wait, something's moving down there. Hello? SPCM Agsith. This is ridiculous. I can outshoot half of the men here, and I'm stuck on monitor duty. I didn't join this to stare at a holoscreen. This wouldn't happen to Samus Aran. She'd be out there taking care of business, not pushing buttons and scanning reports. Thus ends the logbook for the trooper logs. Very interesting. So it seems like among these troopers, Samus Aran is like a local folk legend. And her exploits were being known of it, but not many people actually believe it. But yeah, it seems like there's a lot of paranoia and a lot of skepticism going in. And so far there's only been one survivor in this thing, but he didn't survive for that long. It seems like he was being followed by something. Very interesting. Well, that's all that happened to the forces on our original mission here. And now let's get into the space pirate logs to see what the space pirates were up to at this point. And okay, luckily these ones is just broken up into 4 different cycles. So let's start at the lowest one, cycle 4. Ooh, which one comes first? 4, 6, 8, 5, 3. Okay, this one comes first. Let's start with log 44681. Science teams detect the presence of Phazon in the Dasha system 4 cycles ago. High Command authorized the deployment of our teams shortly thereafter. Our orders are to establish a base on planet Ether and evaluate local Phazon resources. Because this world lies on the periphery of a Galactic Federation territory, we are following stealth protocols at the highest level. A cadre of elite commandos has been dispatched to provide security for our own forces as well. This operation is now underway. Log 48853. Intelligence reports on the indigenous population of Ether are in error. This planet is not at peace, nor are the inhabitants docile. Evidence of a Class 4 conflict is present here. Though hostilities are at a minimal level now, our territory has suffered several raids by a strange type of shadowy creature. These raids have been caused considerable damage and may have recognized more combat troops in response. Fascinating. Let's see what happens on Cycle 5. 50086. A spatial anomaly has been found within our base. We believe this rift in space-time leads to a parallel dimension of some type, but have been unable to interact with it thus far. A strange artifact was found near the anomaly as well, and may be a weapon of generator of some kind. Perhaps the key to assessing the anomaly. High Command is eager for reports on the relic. A new weapon for our arsenal is always welcome. Okay, this is of course talking about that dark beam that we found within the space pirate space. Seems like they were trying to use that as well. Okay, log 54421. The rift portal has been opened. The artifact weapon, dubbed the Dark Beam by Science Team, provides the energy needed to open the portal. Although for a limited time, we sent expeditions through the portal, and they have returned with incredible news. Okay, yeah, so this one just talks a lot about the Dark Beam, so yeah, reading these things during the game probably could have been helpful on a blind playthrough, but luckily this is not how I'm doing it. Let's move on to Cycle 6. Alright, and it seems like Cycle tells you, like, the month of anything of the year, if this is going by, like, months and years and stuff. Alright, start out with 62217. Phazon extraction raids are underway on Dark Ether. The toxicity of the atmosphere was taking a toll on our workforce, as have the hostile natives of that world. Science Team is preparing survival gear to protect our work teams, and we have increased our security presence in extraction areas. Fortunately, High Command is sending more troops and supplies. Our troops and resources are spread dangerously thin, and this mission cannot fail. Alright, log 63622. Samus Aran, the accursed hunter, has arrived. The sudden arrival of the hunter is strange enough, but her actions are stranger still. She does not seek our destruction, but our Phazon. With each raid, she steals Phazon ore, only killing those who attempt to deny her. What she needs it for, we do not know, though Science Team suspects she requires it to power her new armor suit. Dark in color, is equipped with strange new weapons. The troops now call her the Dark Hunter. It is a fitting title. Okay, so this is the day Dark Samus starts showing up in this area. Very interesting. Keep that in mind for lore purposes. Let's move on to 67135. The Dark Hunter teleports into the base at will. Our security has proven next to useless against her. Her latest raid was disastrous. Not only did we lose more Phazon to her, but she also crippled the stealth field generator with her strange new weapons. We are exposed. Until the replacement generator arrives, we will be vulnerable to scans and detection. Our presence here is still minimal. Should the Federation find us, we will be unable to defend our position. Fortunately, Ether is on the fringe of Federation space. With luck, we will have a stealth field back in effect before being detected. Log 69898. The local war has escalated in intensity. The Shadowlings from Dark Ether have launched an offensive. The assault seems focused on a central network of buildings atop a mountain. A base, perhaps. Strangely, this attack coincides with a rise in planetary instability. Perhaps these shadow creatures are using a new weapon system. The Shadowlings must believe us to be foes, but they have hit our base numerous times as well. We are holding, but attrition is taking its toll on our troops and resources. Reinforcements are en route. We only wait and defend what is ours. Very interesting stuff. Alright, so maybe that's how we were able to detect. Actually, let's read the logs before we come to any conclusions. Final log cycle 7. 70136. Another disaster. The transport bringing our reinforcements and supplies has been shut down. It was engaged in orbit by a Federation vessel, which has landed near the alien temple. It's only a matter of time before the Marines attack. Survivors from our ship have made their way to our base. Here we shall make our stand. Another enemy, first the Shadowlings, then the Dark Hunter, and now the Galactic Federation Marine Corps. Perhaps fate will smile upon us before the world itself opens its maw and swallows us. Log 71599. Another hunter, wearing the traditional clothes of Samus Aran, made platfall today. Horrific as it may sound, there are 2 of them now. We are bracing for a new assault. This dire turn of events may bear some goodwill. One of our scouts in Dark Ether saw a curious encounter. The Dark Hunter attacked the one clad as Samus near our Phazon site. Perhaps they are not allies, but foes. Perhaps we can forge an alliance with the Dark Hunter, and exchange Phazon for the head of our common enemy. Interesting. Alright, so this is today's current date in this game, 71599. But it's so weird. I'm going to try to look up a little date and guide thing to figure out like a human way to describe this, because 07159.9, because that's definitely a date of sorts, because this is the log where we finally arrived in the game, and this is recorded a little bit after our first battle with Dark Samus, so perhaps we can figure out a lot more from this. Alright, very interesting stuff. It kind of... Okay, so the only main reason the space pirates are here is because they detected Phazon here, and they only wanted to use it for more experiments. However, Dark Samus started showing up, and actually knocked off their stealth systems, forcing them to try to get some more additional supplies and stuff for this area, but one of their supply ships got interrupted by the Marines, which caused this whole events to start. Interesting. Okay, that's good. Now let's go on to the big doggy, the Lumithan lore. Ooh, interesting. Okay. Luckily, this one, it could be simple. Let's start off with doing the most random one. Let's go on clues. These are the clues that we use to find the keys, sort of switch. So let's see if these bear anything interest. Start with J.Shi's key. There, he sleeps in a flooded temple. Okay, nothing. J.Shi's key, lost his soul before a fortress in a scorched land. Alright, SDL's key. Beside the marsh of a rainy land, she laid her body forever. Beastale's key. She lies deep in a fortress of dry land. Okay, so kind of just seems like these are like graves kind of thing. Let's go with JFT. And our last, what did you see? It was one of the gates closing, sealing the scorched land from the holy ground. Okay, that's more of a riddle. Deasley's key. Who shall disturb you among the trees of holy ground? Alright, SGR's key. He no longer breathes looking down at the great bridge of a holy fortress. Alright, C-Rick's key. In a small corridor within the depths of a high fortress, he lies silently. Okay, so this is the one I found very first up. This was the very first one I found. MD's key. The one who shall move the pillar of holy ground will see your soulless body. Wow, it really feels like a lot of these keys are actually just like the grave sites of these people here. Kind of makes it a little bit more morbid now. Anyway, those are the keys. Now let's go on to the key bearer's lore. And let's start with Cadriel 1. Alright, and let's start with B. Still's Testament. I can go no further. Here in this reactor, I go join my fallen mate, G. Still, in final rest. Though I die with honor, a shame falls on my house until the key I seek reaches its destination. May my brother find my burden, that the way to the Sky Temple will be opened at last. You see, G. Still's Testament. My journey comes to an end. The thrice cursed Ing prepared an ambush of singular cunning in the mining station. They caught me in like a neophyte fresh from the training halls. I sent 50 of their number to whatever foul pit they call afterlife, but in vain my life is extinguished. SDL's Testament. They came to the lagoon in the night, delivering true death blows before I could detect them. As my life faded, I sent a call to Kaitri to warn of this surprise attack. May they find my key and dispatch the Ing who killed me. Only then will my final rest be peaceful. Akol's Testament. Soon I shall pass the final rest, my keys in place, through my spiritual link to the others. I know whether their bodies lie. I shall leave this knowledge that their last location in the dark world can be known. May this knowledge lead our warriors to the Sky Temple keys. The time draws near. Hear the words of Akul, she they call champion of Ether. Know that my warriors fought and died with uncommon valor. Do not unkindly upon their failures, for they died to save us all. Powerful stuff. Jaishi's Testament. What craven savages are the Ing, trapped in catacombs with no chance of rescue? I fought them to the last. I watched them feed upon their dead. I heard them pressing the lesser of their number into the front ranks. That may blast would take them. At least their leader stood against me in battle. He was a foe worthy of a Lumian warrior. Interesting. Alright, let's go on to Cadriel 2. Jfemzi's Testament. Final entry, Warrior Jfem. Their army swells. Beasts and rogue machines join the ranks of the Horde, all eager to bring death to the Lumiath. The Ing sent these new additions to the industrial site to do battle with me. While they watch from safety, cowardly mongrels, my only regret in death is that I did not live to see the day of their defeat. May it come soon. SGR's Testament. Akira tried to send me back to Ether, that I might get reinforcements. Both countries have been attacked. Devastated, the Ing followed me. They came wearing the skin of beasts. I gave them a good fight, yet I have failed. May I redeem my honor in the next life. Here at the fortress entrance, I breathe my last. DC's Testament. It is inside me. I feel it spreading, clawing at my will, terror at my thoughts. It moves me against my will. To this cavern, here with it end. I do not wish this, do not want my body to become a weapon for the Ing within me. It hates, it demands obedience. I will fight to the end. I shall self-terminate before I will be pawn of their filthy Ing. Jesus. MD's Testament. The last hit breached my armor. The poisonous spreads. Though I have fought the key, it is too late for me. Soon my light will fail. They know I am here. They will come to this site to plunder the key. My last stand shall be at the edge of the temple grounds. I only hope I have the strength to fight when they arrive. And finally, Sarek's Testament. Let this be the final testament of the warrior Sirich. I have no more shells for my weapons. For the enemy, I have naught but the blade and fist. Let them come. They wait in the works, hissing and slithering like beasts. Let them. When the war cry comes, there will be dread, final reckoning. Come forth, hatred enemy. Let there be an end. Jesus, alright, so these guys are not only give you probably a little bit of hints of where the keys and their resting place are, but it just seems like these guys were really putting up a valiant fight to protect their homeland. But it was just to an L because there was just too many Ing overbearing them. Really sad. Alright, now let's go with the history next, and we'll end on the conflict for this lore section. Ooh, the Golden Age or the Dark Age? Let's start with the Golden Age. That might be more of a beginning things. And let's start. Oh, Origins. That's got to be a good starting place. Oh wait, it looks like I'm missing one. Alright, sorry about that. It seems like I forgot one piece of lore here. It's actually hidden in this back corner over here, back in Algon Waste. But without that, let's continue on and read these lore. It is told that the Lumithan were not born of the ether, but of the stars. In the early days, we roamed the greatest of the void, bathing in the glorious light of 1,000 stars. We met a vast number of enlightened minds, the Enkrin, the Vil, and the Chozo among them. Each of them we found had claimed a homeworld and formed a deep bond with it. In time, we decided to do the same. Fascinating. Our heritage. Let's go with that one next. Our search for a home took us through the cosmos. For many a great cycle we roamed, yet a place to call our own eluded us. In time we began to despair, feeling the search was in vain. We considered remaining among the stars until a scout returned with news of a world unlike any other. When we beheld Ether for the first time, so great was her beauty that we forsook the stars forever to live upon her surface. From that day forth, the Lumithan were of Ether, our blessed paradise. Let's go with the stellar object. By the time we detected the stellar object as it streaked toward our world, it was too late to stop it. We fired numerous weapons at it in a vain attempt to alter its trajectory. Nothing worked. Our efforts placed a great strain of the energy controllers and weakened Ether. All we can do as the object drew closer was take shelter and wait. We gathered stores of food and water, reinforced and shielding on our last dwellings, and spent the last hours in peace. Let's go with paradise next. Ether was fertile, aged world with a bountiful fields and oceans. The native creatures were gentle compared to our other worlds we had encountered. We settled in a mountain region at first, in the cliffside dwellings. In time we established settlements in the green forests of Toros and the fertile plains of Agon. A great temple was built between our 3 domains, a place of peace and a monument to our accomplishments. It was a time of harmony for our people. The Light Ether. The main energy controller was built in the Great Temple. 3 sub-controllers were built in the temples of Taurus, Agon, and the Sanctuary. They collected the energy of Ether, then radiated it over the world to all who needed it. In time we came to call the previous energy the Light of Ether. It brought an age of peace and prosperity to the Lumithan. And now saving Ether. Ether's planetary energy supply reached a critical stage. If left unchecked, the energy would expire, bringing an end to the world. Our greatest minds devised a way to preserve and regulate the remaining planetary energy, the energy controllers. Fascinating stuff. Now let's go. That was the Golden Age, but it seems like they're about to head into the Dark Ages. Which one should we go first? Let's go with the Cataclysm. This was the default. The starborn terror burnt through the heavens and struck Ether with an untold might. We all expected the world to shatter, but Ether held. There was great devastation. However, the green plains of Agon were scorched forever, and the forest of Taurus was engulfed and wrecked by the sea. The skies burned down for days, casting darkness over the land. Let's go with the Age of Anxiety. In time, the roar of the wounded planets subsided. The air, though foul, was breathable. Light made its way through the dark veil over the world. Slowly we ventured out from the shelters of our homes to see what remained of our paradise. What little comfort we gained by surviving was soon shattered, for when we looked upward, all we saw was devastation. Half of our planet's energy had vanished from the energy controllers. Ether became violently unstable as a result. Of the stellar object which struck our home, there was no sign. The world warp. Amidst the turmoil, we discovered many disturbing anomalies. Spatial disturbances appeared across the land. Objects went into a state of dimensional flukes, their atoms divided between ether and somewhere else. There was little time to ponder these strange happenings, for we had to deal with the devastation of the lands. and finally, the Ing attack. The day came when space was torn asunder, revealing dimensional rifts to a dark place. Horrible dark swarms streaked forth from these rifts, engulfing nearby creatures and transforming them into what we would call the Darklings. The dark creatures became our enemies, and peace came to an end on Ether. My god. So it seems like they weren't even natives to this place. It seems like they were just like the Chozo and two other species, to where they were just looking for a homeworld to call their own. And when they found this place, they were sure they had found it. But yeah, and it seems like a strange meteorite is the thing that caused all this devastation to happen. Similar to the one that happened at Metroid Prime 1's Chozo land. Strange meteor happened there. It was filled with Phazon. Maybe a similar thing happened here, but it happened on a dimensional rift this time though. Very interesting. And finally, let's move on to the final piece of lore, the conflict. Okay, luckily this one's just in phases, so we can hopefully read this right. And of course not. Alright. Let's start with the one that says, the war begins. We developed crystals that brought the light of ether to the dark world. Using these crystals allowed our warriors to explore the enemy lands, to bring war to the Ing. Sadly, crystals were not enough. We needed stronger weapons, better armor. We withdrew from dark ether while our greatest minds devised new engines of war. Now, let's go with the dark ether. In time, we created machines to open rifts to our enemy's world. Volunteer scouts went through the rifts and found a twisted world, harsh and poisonous, a dark ether. They discovered that this world held the missing half of our planet's energy. They also saw that the true face of the enemy, a race we came to call Ing, meaning terror. Our scouts could not survive long on the surface of dark ether, so venomous was its air. Still, we vowed to return and we prepared for war. The new terror. In time, the Ing began to possess Lumithium as well as creatures. Friends and family members became the enemy, spilling Luthian blood across the land. Desperate, we devised shielding to prevent Ing possession. It was effective, but not perfect. Should the shielding fail, all Lumithian were prepared to self-terminate rather than become a weapon for the Ing. Jesus. Let's go with the new weapons. Our studies of the Ing revealed the source of their attacks as dark energy. We built weapons to use this energy, thinking it could overload enemy targets and eliminate them. We soon learned that our error, as the dark beam was not of great effect on the Ing. We then began to develop a weapon that used light energy. This weapon would dispatch the Ing with terrible efficiency. Fascinating. The recovering energy. We were not prepared to fight a long war. The forces of the enemy outnumber ours vastly. We sought a way to end the war quickly, without extended combat. We decided to build a device to recover our lost planetary energy from the dark ether. Without this energy, the dark world would cease to be, and our world would be restored to stability. Fascinating. That was phase 1. Let's move on to the second phase. Interesting. Let's start with Torvius Falls. No, let's start with Shattered Hope. Let's start with that one. None of the warriors sent to the Sky Temple returned. Our forces searched dark ether for them in vain. Of the energy transfers module, there was no sign. Though saddened, we set out to prepare another mission to build another module. Try once more to save our dying world. Now let's go to Agon Falls. A massive Ing attack came to the land of Agon. Soon the temple of Agon was surrounded by the Horde, with no hope of salvation. Our gallant warriors there were slain, and Agon fell to the enemy. Our blood chilled when we learned that the enemy within the temple was drained. The Ing has found the energy transfer module, and we're using it as a weapon against us. Torvius Falls. The Ing turned their forces to the Torvius Bog next, sending a vast force to lay siege to the temple there. Thousands upon thousands of Ing were destroyed by our weapons, yet they kept coming until there was no Lumiath alive to offer resistance in Torvius. On that day, the energy of Torvius was taken to dark ether, and our hopes of survival grew dim. Now let's go to the Sky Temple. We learned that the ruler of the Ing dwelled in a place dubbed the Sky Temple by our forces. This place held the planetary energy of dark ether as well. It was heavily guarded, and entry was barred by the great gate requiring 10 keys to unlock. These keys were hidden throughout Dark Ether by the Ing. A mission was planned, one that would find the hidden keys and recover our missing energy from the Sky Temple. Fascinating. And lastly, the final crusade. While our forces on Dark Ether fought desperate battles against superior numbers, our best minds completed their work. The energy transfer module, a device designed to recover our lost planetary energy, was ready at last. A force of our greatest warriors was assembled, each equipped with the best armor and weaponry available. We sent this brave cadre of fighters to invade the Sky Temple and seize the missing energy laying within. And finally, we move on to the final phase of this conflict. Let's go to the Sanctuary Falls, and then we'll end with Twilight. Our battlefield forces gathered in the Sanctuary Fortress to prepare for the inevitable siege there. They didn't wait long. Wave after wave of Ing assaulted the greatest of our fortresses with one goal in mind, to seize the energy there. The Ing turned the machines of Sanctuary against our warriors, and soon all was lost. The energy of Sanctuary was taken by the Ing. Only one energy controller remained, on Ether. And lastly, Twilight. What few remained gathered in the Great Temple. There, all but Umos, the last Sential of Ether, entered into a life-preserving stasis. There they would remain to be released once the Ing were destroyed, or to sleep forever. His people safe, Usmos prepared for the last terrible assault. In silence in the Great Temple, he prayed for salvation, for deliverance from the terror of the Ing. Yep, and that's all the lore that's pertained in this game. Fascinating stuff. Alright, so it seemed like for the Lumithan, their whole struggle was just trying to get everything they can to prepare for this whole onslaught. But as we know, it didn't prevail well, leading to literally all their forces dying, and leading only Uthmos to wait in a preserved stasis area in order to try to wait for someone who can help them. Again, very fascinating stuff. Well, that's the end of the lore section over here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Till next time, guys. Later. Hey guys, quick thing. I just wanted to say this real quick because I know for the gallery I like to keep it nice and quiet so let you guys enjoy the art. But in this one specific picture right here, it seems like there's a little Waddle Dee outline right in the middle of it. I wanted to point this out because I literally looked online and no one seems to have found this or made any connections to it, which I find super interesting because maybe this whole light ether or light and dark ether could be a whole thing of not only just transporting to a different world, but maybe even dimension to where even Kirby is there. Yeah, just something to bring up.